What's up? What's up? It's the Arthur Most Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's good, bro?
Man, I'm living, baby. How are you, though? You fresh off Are we allowed to let the people know? Like,
sure,
what you?
Sure. I think I've said it before.
Okay. You fresh off the B-Day weekend, baby.
Yeah.
Like, how are we living?
Yeah, pretty good. A lot of golf, a lot of partying. I feel good, though. Considering all that, considering the lack of sleep, the amount of alcohol I consumed, and the amount of golf I played, I feel pretty refreshed right now.
What were those backwoods talking about, man? Did you indulge a little bit, or did you go to Mars? Like, what was you doing, man?
Too many. Yeah, no, I didn't have any. Well, I don't even know. I'm just gonna say, I didn't smoke. I didn't smoke any weed. I didn't smoke any weed this weekend.
I don't know what you're talking about right now. All right. I don't know what you're talking about. If you didn't go to the Red Planet and get any, what do they call them? I don't know. I don't want to call it dust because that is not what we're talking about on this show. Not at all. But either way, though, man, I get what you're saying, though.
Yeah, none of that this weekend. Just some cigars. Mm-hmm. Cigars while I was playing golf. Some cigars late at night on my birthday, and a lot of alcohol just throughout the day. Both days, yeah.
I can respect that, man.
Yeah, why am I saying both days? I'm acting like my birthday was 2 days. I mean, it's the weekend, though. The birthday weekend, right?
Well, some people, they say they celebrate for like the month. Some people celebrate for just the day.
Yeah, some people
it
can
depends
pull
on who
off
it is,
like
man.
a 2-week birthday. I just don't know how they do it. I'm in and out. I get a weekend, maybe 1 or 2 days, and that's about it.
Okay. See, I feel like, I'm a month guy. I feel like when it's my
you're able to pull it off.
I try hard. Yeah, like it's my birthday month. I need attention. Yes, cater to me, please, every single day.
What is it? It's the person or two that you haven't seen in a while.
No,
where your birthday was last week, and then whenever you see him again or you guys are going out, you play it off like us.
You know, my birthday was a week ago, bro. You gonna buy me a drink?
Yeah, exactly.
So dinner's on you tonight, right? My birthday was a week ago. Absolutely, man. You gotta have a birthday love, baby.
I see what you're saying.
That.
Yeah.
That's funny though, man.
It was good though, man. I played some pretty good golf. That's what I'm most pumped about, honestly. Okay. It's about just hitting good shots. Yeah, and that's what I did. It was just good. It was surrounded with friends, family. Like you can't beat it. So
no, I like that a lot, man. I like that a lot. Well, I will say this, since we did talk a little bit about Mars, and I know you were on your backwoods. You said you didn't have any of the funny stuff this weekend.
No.
Not all of us can, say those same things. Some of us have been to the Red Planet a couple times in the past, recent future, and stuff like that. But either way, what I will say is this, man. You see this shirt? When you go to the Red Planet,
it's sick. As soon as I opened the door, I was like, "Damn, bro!"
You come back. You know what this is called? This is called Universal Love. Universal Love, and it's through our people over at Into the AM, man. Shout out to them, man, providing the shirt. I know you got some content as well, some dope little, Into the AM products, man. Super good feel on them. I absolutely love them. But like I said, man, because I like to frequent out of space every once in a while.
Which way is he going? Is he coming back or is he?
Oh man, he's definitely going up. This is wake and bake.
Okay.
Some people are like, oh man, they got to get on the back end. He's coming back down to earth. No. This dude is taking off. Yeah. He said, man, look, I don't care if you're on the West Coast and it's 6 a.m. I don't care if you're on the East Coast and it's 9 a.m. I don't care where you're at. When it's into the AM, because y'all know what's in the AM. Y'all see what we doing right here. You got to be ready to wake and bake.
It doesn't even look like he's got a rocket ship. Like
Not at all, man.
He just got some blasters attached to his feet, and he's going straight from Earth,
man,
up to space.
I love it, bro. I love it. But also, you know how we do, right? We're not talking about you unless we got something to give to you or something for you. So, promo code, there it is, right? www.intotheam.com/Moats10, and you'll get 10% off of your purchases on Into the AM's website, man. So shout out to them for that, providing the dope shirts. Yes, indeed. And just keeping it with the theme because, that's how we rock. And I do like the fact that they like to talk about, or they like to support content creators like us who have a nice connection with their crowd, which we do. So make sure you blast off later today, ladies and gentlemen.
I already got some people in the chat saying the shirt's pretty dope.
Oh man, appreciate it. Well, I'm sure they appreciate it as well. Steel, stainless steel. Absolutely. It's wake and bake time. Y'all know what it is, man. We got the wake. Y'all provide the bake. And after that's going to be just a great time all together. But y'all know how we get this thing started, as we always do when it's a morning session, when it's a wake and bake. And Jason Apricot, no, you are not late, baby. You are right on time. Let us know where you're checking in from, baby. You know it's that time to start the show off, all right? Where are we tuning in from, man? Let's get this morning shout out going. And after that, we'll get the show rolling.
Someone said they have some unfortunate news.
Oh, no.
It can't be that bad if you're bringing it up in the chat.
It can't be, right? Or at least you would hope that.
NSMC99.
Oh, he's the
Deke and
homie.
Moats starting off the week strong. Got stung by a wasp twice in my thigh.
Oh, no. So you're like muscle quad right now and then, probably.
Oh, my.
Yeah, dude. Twice. Oh, was it the same spot? Or was it different thighs? That's the other question, right?
It looks like it's the same one. That thing's going to be bad.
Dude, I think the wasp has a vendetta out against you, man. Sheesh.
Sometimes that could mess you up, though. It seems like in this case, it's just gonna, in a week it'll subside. But
right.
If you get stung by a wasp, especially twice, who knows?
Dude,
like if you gotta be rushed to the hospital or some shit like that.
Man, I'm about to call Ace Ventura, the pet detective. I need some info on that, baby. That's crazy.
So I guess you're just gonna have to deal with it this week. Throw some ice on it or something. I don't know.
Ice up, son. I hear Steve Smith. All right.
Yeah, I've.
Oh, you got stung by a little wasp, huh? Ice up, son. You be all right.
Yeah, I don't know how to handle that.
Hey, man, people get stung every day. You all right, B?
Yeah, it's not the end of the world. That's what I'm saying. Like, it can't be that big of a deal if it's being brought up.
But no, we do wish you a speedy recovery. We don't want you sitting on the sidelines for these next couple of weeks, all right? We know it's football season. Training camp is upon us. We need you out there, okay? So ice up. Get back out there, man. We need your availability, okay? Because you ain't done nothing yet. It's only been, a year or two for you. But we'll talk about that later. Oh, man, we got
some check-ins.
I was about to say, so I'll get the super chat first, and then after that, we'll roll through the morning check-in because that is how we start the show. You know that, baby. But it looks like Black and Martyr. Shout out to you, Black and Martyr, as always, heavy in the chat, always showing major love and support. He says, morning, fellas. Hope TJ gets that contract soon. About to blast off to Mars myself before this meeting I'm stuck doing. LOL. Have a good one. Black and Martyr. First off, we appreciate you as always tuning in, man, before you go off on your business affairs of the day. But shout out to you for taking off to Mars, because anytime you can take off to Mars before you have to go to your other, endeavors, just makes it a lot smoother from the research that I've been able to gather. All right. And then with TJ's contract, yes, we need that ASAP. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit as well. But
I just love the chat. How I don't know if it was Black and Martyr the time before, if it was someone else, but just to say the shamelessness, you got to appreciate it. Hey, I'm about to smoke before I head to this meeting. I'm on my way to work. I'm smoking it up. I don't know if that was him both times or if it was someone else, but
no, I feel like it's been multiple people now that have said similar where they
I got work. I'm about to smoke,
or they're about or they just came for it, or they're at work. Yeah.
Shout out though. Shout out.
Hey man,
it's got to be a good combo. Listening to the podcast.
Well, I'm probably
you got work, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Doing that eases the stress off of work.
It definitely eases the stress.
It makes the day be a little bit better, I guess.
Yeah, I feel like it sets your day on the right trajectory.
Sure.
It makes your day above the line because you're gonna be in an elevated state. You're gonna be feeling just happy. You're gonna be a lot more patient. And, when you're patient and you're in a competitive environment like the workplace where things could change and get out of whack, sometimes you need to just be able to relax and woosah, baby. So if you are a person that likes to frequent Mars, man, salute you. Yes, indeed. And it's from the Earth. It's natural. So, yeah. So now let's get this check-in rolling. And shout out to Don. Don says, happy birthday to myself, Steelers Nation for life. Don, happy birthday to you as well, baby. Yes, indeed. Now we got John Mamister. I'm butchering that last name, but he's checking in from Akron, Ohio. Shout out to that. Hunter, man, big love for Hunter. Hunter is always showing love. He says he's at his job in Philly. Ooh, shout out to Philly though. Okay. After that, got Jar Devil Santa in California. Caesar Amarillo, Texas. What you got over there, Deke?
We got Yer H, first time tuning into the live show. Greetings from Spain.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Spain. Absolutely. It's on my bucket list. I'm going to go there one day.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, going over to Europe would be sweet.
Absolutely.
Got a lot of Steelers fans over there. I bet you they could accommodate.
Live show in Europe?
Live show. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Man, we need to do that.
I would love that.
I would love that too. That'd be fun.
John Trott from New York.
Oh, okay.
Austin Turner, Cedar Point. We got Corey Boggs, Charleston, West Virginia.
Shout out to West Virginia.
Greg Wakefield, Clarksville, Tennessee.
Ooh. Now, Tennessee's a vibe, too. Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah, Nashville's pretty cool.
Tennessee's a vibe, yeah.
That would have been a good one last year.
I know, man.
Because we played at Tennessee.
I know. But it's all good, though, because this year we got
Dallas last year.
Yeah, Dallas would have been Buffalo. But we get Buffalo this year. Buffalo for the opener.
Yeah, sure.
I'm trying to think, where else did we miss last year?
Jacksonville.
Yeah. We always take over Jacksonville, too.
That's what I mean. Like, low-key, you don't think it would be a big one, but just because it's Florida, it almost would have been like Arizona, I'm guessing, like down in Florida, where it is like a Steeler Nation takeover. The game sold out, and it's like 70% Steeler fans.
I was going to say, every time we played in Jacksonville, since I've been with the Pittsburgh Steelers, it's been like that. You go to the game, you're like, oh, it's Jacksonville. I don't want to be down here. But then you get there, and it's packed out Steelers fans everywhere, airport, hotel, like, and you're just like, this is Jacksonville. Like, what are we doing here? But that definitely is the case. You're absolutely right, man. All right. So shout out to the Florida people, man. Then we got Wendini. I think I said that right. Mayfield Village, Ohio. Steel, stainless steel. Checking in from Cavalier Manor. Is that in the crib, Cavalier Manor? Because I know it's a Cavalier Manor back where I'm from. I don't know if that's in Cavalier Manor. Let me know, still stainless steel, if that's Cavalier Manor in the 757 or wherever you are currently located at. Oakley Martin, Central Illinois. Because you know it's no noise in Illinois.
Yeah.
My wife always reminds me of that. We even had this conversation like 2 days ago. I just something about that word Illinois. Where's Illinois? Yeah. But she's always right. That's why I love her. So Illinois, shout out to that. Then we got our guy, Let's Go UW, always in the building.
Yeah.
South Haven, Mississippi. Yes, I. MISS, crooked letter I. Like it. And then Jason Apricot tuning in from Moon, PA. We need some Moon people in here, baby. And not Moon like we up on the moon, but like Moon like around the corner Moon, man. So I like that, baby. Yes. What else you got over here, man?
Well, we got a couple upper room members. I don't know if you want to hit them in the middle of this.
Yeah, matter of fact,
I could say their name. I got them both.
Perfect. All right, I caught up now. There we go.
First one, we got Compass Entertainment.
Hey, Compass Entertainment. I love the name, baby. You are our compass for this entertainment today. So with that being said, welcome to the Upper Room. Yes, indeed.
John Maumeister.
Oh, John. Man, we just said John's name too, man. Shout out to you, John, and welcome to the Upper Room. Yes, indeed.
And then we got one more comment, then I'll get back to some more shout outs from where people are tuning in from. And this is from Hunter. Mm-hmm. Can y'all hit on the coach's comments on Dotson today? And that is one of the topics.
Absolutely. Yes, that is one of the topics, man. So like I said, as soon as we're finishing up this this morning check-in where you tuning in from, after that, man, we deep diving because we have a ton to talk about today. I mean, just these past couple of days, it's been content after content coming out from the Steelers, man. Very heavy stuff. So definitely excited to deep dive into all of that today.
Okay. So we do have some people from PA. Did you hit on, because I see your Cavalier Manor, Titusville, PA, a.k.a. T Vegas.
No, you're good. Keep going.
We got Eric right there. Slippery Rock, PA.
Ooh,
Jeremy Price.
Slippery Rock. Absolutely.
And we got Hannibal 090. Caught my second live from Lawrenceville, Georgia.
Hey, big up, man.
Rod Young, Montreal, Canada in the house.
Oh, Canada.
We got another person live from Europe. # live from Europe.
I like it.
Wooddenny.
Okay, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. They were up there a little bit earlier.
Black and Martyr. I saw one of his comments here. Mm-hmm. I don't have it word for word, but he basically said there's some perks for working at home. So he's not in the office technically.
Okay. We can respect that. Then from there, we got Let's Toast Media, Michigan, with a big boy M, saying let's go on that. And Stainless Steel, man, he is from the crib, 757 Cavalier Manor. Funny story, Cavalier Manor, right? When I was first starting out playing rec ball, they used to have this team, Cavalier Manor Spartans, I want to say, where they would come out dressed in green. No, football. Oh, okay. Dressed in green and gold, bro. And when I tell you, we're probably like 9, 10. They legit like they were in high school, bro. Visors, swag towels, gloves. Like in rec ball, man, we didn't have gloves. We didn't have swag towels. These dudes got spat on. Man, when I tell you this team here from Cavalier Manor, bro, they might have scored 50 points in us in a 4-minute first quarter, bro. It was unreal. So anytime I see Cavalier Manor, I get scarred. In fact,
PTSD.
Look, not only did they whoop us on the field, then I got hurt in the game at the end of the day. I had to go to the hospital, bro. It was bad, bro. Bad. So Cavalier Manor gives me big time PTSD, but still stainless steel. I'm glad that you weren't, or hopefully you weren't a part of any of them teams that did us like that, man. But yeah, shout out to Cavalier Manor for that, man. Oh my gosh, dude. I'd never forget that. We pulled up to that parking lot. I'm like, Dad, what team is this? They ain't any team we playing.
It's like that. It's like that picture from Benchwarmers. You ever see Benchwarmers? He has the burst certificate. It's just crayon. Yes, bro. I'm old enough.
I'm sitting here looking. I'm like, Dad, something isn't right here, man. These dudes are big, and he's hit me with the, hey, come on, man. You know how we do. It don't matter who we going up against. You got this. And I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah, Dad, we got this. Not realizing that, okay, I'm going to psych myself up, but everybody else ain't going to psych themselves up. Oh, man, it got gory real quick. Yes. But still, stainless steel, man. Taking me down memory lane with that one, baby. Then we got my man Justin Reynolds tuning in from Morgantown. WVU. Shout out to all my Mountaineer fans out there. Then Jay Sawyer, Harrisburg, PA, in the building, but he said he's currently sitting on Saturn, baby.
He went past Mars.
I like, hey, man, sometimes it happens, bro.
It does.
It can definitely happen. Like, if you miss your calculation a little bit, you think, you've put all the algorithms in there, you think you got the numbers right, you crunch the data, and you're off a little bit. Sometimes you overshoot it. Now, sometimes you come up a little bit short, too. Sometimes you're trying to go to Mars, you just, man, I'm on Earth still. This ain't the same. But then sometimes, like, it's been a time or two, you might end up on Pluto and you just lost, just sitting there in the corner hugging yourself, telling your wife you really love her. Chill, man.
It happens sometimes. It happens.
It does happen sometimes.
You go to a different galaxy even, maybe.
Hey, oh, Lord. Shout out to the West Coast.
Yeah. That's what happened out there.
It's good times though, nonetheless.
What else? We got a few more.
Yeah, I think we got a few more. Then we have one more. I know we got a new upper room member, right. Aaron Breeze. Shout out to you, Aaron Breeze, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed, man.
So I'll say a few more, and then I guess we get to the first topic, right?
Yeah, man. Because like I said, we got plenty of content today, baby. Plenty to discuss.
We got Jalen Soto from
shout out to
AZ.
Jalen. AZ in the building. Hey, man, I love all in AZ. Man, I love AZ.
Oh man, I don't even. DAAJ. That's who's Huntington, West Virginia.
All right.
I'm not even gonna try to pronounce that. Damn, Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, okay.
Broken leg problems.
Oh, hey, man, broken leg problems was in there heavy last time too, man. Shout out to him, man.
So I think that's good.
I like it. And then we also have Larry Fordyce tuning in from Okinawa, Japan.
Yeah.
That's crazy as well, man.
I did see that.
What time is it in Okinawa, Japan, by the way? Because I've never been to Okinawa, Japan. I want to go to Japan. I think it'd be a dope place to visit. Every once in a while, I brush up on my Japanese because I'm trying to, get a little bit more, but I don't have enough of it right now, man.
Can I take a guess?
What you got?
I'm going to say...
What time do you think it is over there? Morning or night?
Hold on. I'm gonna guess. Yeah, I'm gonna guess it's nighttime. I'm gonna guess it's like 9 p.m.
You're close. He just said 10 p.m.
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. He literally just said 10 p.m.
Okay,
that's crazy, bro.
Damn.
That's crazy.
Listen, I wasn't looking.
That's crazy, bro.
I was not looking because the chat was way far up, and then I see the 10 p.m.
Yeah, bro. That's nuts.
Because that's one of the things you would do. If, like you're trying to make a guess, you see the time and just guess like an hour off or so.
I think about 10:30. Is it like 10:30 over there? What you think, chump? But yeah, man, that is funny. So with that being said, man, let's get into this first topic, man. And it is plenty spicy, baby.
Yeah, what do we got first?
Bro.
I don't even.
We
you got the order here, right?
We got the reaction to James Washington, man, and his trade request, right? So first off, we're going to talk about the initial report, right? It came from Adam Schefter. We know who Adam Schefter is. We know that, he drops bombs, and he's pretty much always accurate. We know he has high-level sources. He's not in your Ian Rappaport class. I mean, if we're being real about it, we know Shefty, he's like the man of all men when it comes to breaking
Shefty is Woj, Rappaport is Broussard. Is that what we're saying?
Correct. But I would also say that Woj is more so like a little bit of Shefty, because Shefty I feel like is like the creme de la creme.
Shefty was before Woj.
Right. So that's my thing. I'm like, I don't even want to say Shefty is like anyone else, because he was kind of like the one who set that standard. And we think about how many countless stories he's broken, right? When he speaks, it speaks volumes because it is true. So you could imagine Steeler Nation understanding that as well when the report came out from Shefty on Friday that James Washington had requested a trade. It got people in a ruckus. Now, it happened like right after we finished our show too that day. Mm-hmm. But it was crazy because when you think about it, it made sense from his perspective. I could easily see that. And I thought, and this is one of actually the good times with Steeler Nation. This is why I'm like, y'all are awesome for the majority of the time, man. Even then, though, right, a guy requesting a trade, you could easily see them turn on him, say crazy stuff about him. But I thought as a whole, everybody was still very supportive of him and understanding of his situation. I mean, this is a guy going into his contract year, a former second-round draft pick, a guy that when his number has been called, has produced with the quarterback carousel, right? And now he's going into this contract year and he wants more opportunity and he didn't feel like he was receiving it. So he voiced that frustration. Now, granted, I like the way that he went about it as well, because for James, we know his temperament, right? He's not the Aaron Rodgers type where he wants to be the distraction, where he doesn't mind talking crazy about the organization publicly. James is low key, right? I mean, let's be real about it, right? That's not James' temperament. James is chill. We've had James on the show. James is a cool guy, man. He just want to farm, play football, enjoy his life. That's what he's on. But for him, how do you voice your displeasure without, killing your reputation, right? Because you don't want to be viewed as a me guy. You don't want to be viewed as a cancer and stuff like that. You go this route where you make sure the people that need to know you're frustrated know that, and then they take it and run with it as well. And I think that's ultimately how this thing has played out. And I think that's why it's been viewed how it's been viewed right now.
No, definitely. Definitely. Like his whole career here with the Steelers, he's been low key, does the hard work, makes the tough catches, hasn't said any negative shit. Like that's just how he's been. So we're definitely giving him the benefit of the doubt from that standpoint, where this trade request, there's no bad intent, there's no malintent that he's like trying to rip on the Steelers organization, trying to take them down or put them in a bad spot. He's just naturally looking out for himself, which he should be, because this is one of those scenarios. Honestly, we didn't really talk about this that much, but I mean, dude has a legit chance to be like a number 2 receiver on a lot of teams.
He's talented enough.
Maybe could hit the 1,000-yard threshold.
I mean, we saw him flirt with it with Mason and Duck at quarterback.
Yeah, it was 700 yards, so maybe he would have hit it when Ben was
quarterback. And that was only his second year in the league.
I'm actually surprised something like this didn't happen sooner, whether it was at some point last season or just earlier in this offseason, because to try to make more money, to try to prove your value, especially in this contract year, it's going to be tough being the 4th receiver on the Pittsburgh Steelers right now.
Very tough, man.
And he has that type of talent. He has that type of potential. But if you just stick in this same scenario, you're probably not going to be able to prove that value in this season. Maybe you get 400 or 500 yards. Maybe you can make some nice catches. There's maybe one game or two where you could show out, kind of like last year. He had that nice Washington game. He had that nice catch in the Ravens game at the end. There's probably another game or two where
I'm trying to think, week 17 Browns. Didn't he have a couple catches opposite of Claypool, right?
I remember Deontay having a big game. I know, dude. I
gotta look. I don't remember.
That's the thing. Like, he'll have a clutch catch or two, but then it's just not enough throughout the course of a game for you to look at the stat line.
They say like 4 targets, 2 catches, 70 yards. You're like, what the heck? Or 2 catches, 50 yards. Like, yeah.
So it's one of those scenarios. Whenever he came out with the trade request, I was like you. I was like all the other fans too. It's like, good for him. I wish him the best, and I don't blame him at all.
Yeah. And when I look and just think about like football, how it typically works with the NFL, right? High pedigree guys like him typically get opportunities. This isn't a 4th round pick. This isn't a 6th round pick, guy. This is a high pedigree draft pick. And when his number was called that second season, he showed that he could produce to that level. But I think the part that's really led to this frustration more so boiling over is when you think about how the receivers struggled last year, especially with the drops. Deontay Johnson, we know he struggled. We know Claypool towards the back and his productivity dropped as well. Now his participation did also, but as a whole, it wasn't what we thought it should be for him. Now imagine if you're James Washington and you feel like, I am just as good as those guys. My numbers, I've produced already to the same level or at least better than some of those guys, but yet they have this extremely long leash to where they can drop multiple balls and still get these opportunities. Whereas for James, we don't see him deal with drops. We don't see him having maturity issues. We don't see him celebrating on people or drawing potential flags. We don't see him shying away from being physical and blocking. Like, he does everything that you want. We come up here and sing his praises numerous times. So imagine if you're going through all of that, you're doing everything right. You're the high pedigree guy, but yet you're seeing guys that you feel like you're just as good or better than, because that's the mindset. He feels like he's just as good as Claypool. He feels like he's just as good as Deontay or better than him. And he should feel that way. So when you go through a year of that, and then your first preseason game, you're sitting here and you're like, bro, I still don't feel like I'm being the focal point. I still don't feel like I'm getting targets here. We still saw, I mean, even though we know Claypool is going to be a really good player this year. He still had a drop in that game. If you're James, that's going to rub you the wrong way. And I just think that was more so him voicing that, the best way that he could, man. But it's going to be interesting to see how the team handles it, because the reason why I hyped up Shefty and talked about him a lot on that front end was because the first time we hear from Coach Tomlin about this, he comes up and acts like he has heard zero. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. What?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because it sounds like from everything you were just talking about, like this trade request is still valid.
And this is the thing with Coach Tomlin. We talked about him yesterday on my Steelers show when he actually had, put out that news. And we were just saying that we're not ever going to say Coach Tomlin is not being truthful, because technically what he did say was probably truthful in terms of James Washington directly speaking to him, Kevin Colbert or Art Rooney, about his displeasure wanting to be traded. You're right. James probably never said those words out of his mouth. So if Coach Tomlin said that, by the letter of the law, he technically is being truthful. But you're not going to act like you don't know this man wants to be traded. You're not going to act like that isn't clear and that information isn't out there. You know who his agent is. His agent is Drew Rosenhaus. We've seen this play out before. I can tell you firsthand. They don't make that type of stuff up, baby. So for James, this is very much valid. And if you're Coach T, it makes sense to deny, because think about this, right? If you're Coach T and you get up and you're like, yeah, he has to get traded, we're going to trade him. Well, now his value goes down. If the Eagles and I want to, trade for James Washington, and I already know you're going to trade him, well, shoot, I ain't offering no 3rd or 4th. I'm offering 5th and 6th at best, because I know you're going to move him, right? So you can't go up there and just confirm it like that. Then you can't come up there and bash him either.
No.
Because if you don't trade him and you need him to produce it sometime this season, you want to make sure that he's still involved. He's still showing up to practice. You want to keep that going. Keep it from being a bigger distraction, right? So I'm thinking of something like, man, Coach T, he has to say these things right here. He can't go up here and bash the request. He can't come up here and bash the player. And he can't come up here and say that he is going to trade him. Like, he kind of had to do that. But the trade request, trust me, the Shefty didn't have to come back and reiterate it. You notice he ain't come back to it, because Shefty, man, he don't circle back. He dropped that bomb, and it's very much validated. And that's the case right now with that, man.
Wow. Interesting. So I just went through one day or two where I thought James Washington was definitely traded. And then I hear Mike Tomlin, and then even some of these reports saying like, oh, James Washington's showing out in camp and everything.
He's been balling. Yeah.
Where I'm like, all right, I guess he's going to stick around at least for this year. He's probably gone after this season, but we're going to still see James Washington on the Steelers. Now I'm hearing from you that you feel like the trade request is still in.
Oh, it's definitely in. Now, will he get moved? That's different
That's a question. And then how does it play out? Because if Tomlin and Colbert know in the back of their minds, or they know the trade request is still there.
Yep.
Do they talk with Washington like, bro, let's just play this out preseason or whatever. We're going to try to move you behind the scenes, but let's just make this good on the forefront and in public perception that everything's fine. We're going to try to get a deal behind the scenes.
This is the question that I would have for you. If you're James Washington, do you trust that though?
Because I don't know. Maybe you set a deadline. Maybe Washington and Rosenhaus set a deadline where it's like, all right, we'll give you like 2 or 3 weeks.
Because
but if nothing's done there, then we're gonna make a scene.
Right. Because I'm saying to myself, you've known I've had displeasure. That request doesn't just come out haphazardly. That's not Thursday night.
Oh, you think there has been stuff in the offseason?
No, for a fact, because you're not gonna just offer one preseason game. All of a sudden now I want to get traded. And it's the first preseason game. Most people don't even want to play in that first preseason game, if we're being real about it.
He played a lot.
I know. So didn't get those targets.
So
think about it. You don't want to play in it because you don't feel like you need to, first off, if you're James Washington, right? He's been in this league for multiple years now, and he's shown that he can play. You don't need to see him in game 1 of the preseason. So you're going to have him out there, and he's not getting those targets. That's not the thing that set him off to make him want to go out there and publicly say that. No. But when you account everything that has been transpiring since he's been here, absolutely. Yeah, that can be the straw that breaks the camel's back. And now you get the report out. The timing of it, man, it was like I said, it was just too smooth of a process, man. And knowing the people behind the scenes, we've seen this play out before, bro. We've seen this before. Now, will he get traded? I want to talk about that as well, because I did ask the chat in terms of if they were the GM of the Pittsburgh Steelers, would they trade him? So far, 113 people have voted. 61% say no. They would not trade James Washington. And that is a little interesting to me because right now he's been pretty chill, right? He's been pretty quiet. He's been kind of doing what he's supposed to do. But obviously this report got leaked out. So that way they could let people know that, hey, man, I am unhappy with this situation. But I wonder, would it change if he took a more demonstrative approach, if he was more Aaron Rodgers with it? Not saying that he will, because I don't think that's his temperament at all. But when guys are in contract years, when guys understand that, man, if you don't have a good year this year for James, when are you going to get that opportunity to make that payday? When are you going to get that opportunity to get that generational wealth that he's more than talented enough to receive? So,
or at least get a chance to.
Right.
It's different if he goes to a team and then he is the receiver too. It doesn't work out. At least he got
the opportunity. Right now, he's just sitting on the roster as wide receiver 4, but not maybe
even the 5th or 6th target with.
I was going to say not even the
Najee.
Option. Yeah, because you should got the LeBron in there. You know what I mean? So it's a ton of other like target options in front of him as well, man. So if you're James, right now he's been peaceful. Right now it's easy to say, yeah, we want to trade him. But if he were to become disgruntled, if he were to start making more public displays, whether it's through his agent, whether it's through his social media or him in interviews, would that change then? Would that change the mindset? Because right now, us saying don't trade him, but we're not using him. So what's the purpose of not trading him? That's kind of where I was trying to get to that thing.
Would you trade James Washington? So that's the question.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it's different than do I think it's going to happen? Would I? Yeah, if this is legit.
Yeah.
What's the Tomlin mentality? We don't want people here that
we don't want
hostages.
Here. We want was it willing participants, not hostages? That's what he said with L. Bell. That's his go-to line, man.
It sucks, but I just think it'll be better for both parties the sooner you could try to make a trade. Now, Willie, I don't know what the Steelers are going to do about this, because how they've handled this out in the public with Tomlin's little interview is that he's not getting traded. We don't even know about this. But like I said, I don't know what's getting worked on behind the scenes, because if Schefter is tweeting this, and to everything you said, this thing is still legit. I would like to think the organization's more at the forefront and are trying to be smart about this and trying to avoid that potential locker room issue or just disdain on both sides going on at some point as the regular season's approaching. Like, we don't want that.
Now, something that people have brought up in terms of why they wouldn't trade James as well. The analyzer, he says some of the people have brought up Juju potentially not coming back next year as a reason why they would want to keep James Washington this year.
But James is an unrestricted free agent, right?
Absolutely. And if you're James, you're not going to come back next year.
Because even if Juju doesn't sign, it's always going to be Claypool, Deontay.
Always.
And we just drafted Najee and Fryer. Right. So you might be the 4th or 5th option.
Right. And that doesn't even account for if they feel like since Juju left, they got to draft another wide receiver. I mean, that's just
second or third round.
It's
just another year, another draft.
It's a good problem to have for the Steelers because they do draft receivers so well, but this is a part of it right now, man. We also had Jeb, he says with Claypool, he says he thinks he's going to get injured, and they're obviously going to use James Washington to keep going downfield. That's been the biggest thing. I've seen the Juju.
Wait, why just randomly Claypool's going to get injured?
Bro. Well, he did go down in the Hall of Fame game, though.
I get it.
But yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm like, I don't think I don't think any of the guys get injured. But dudes do get injured ultimately.
Claypool specifically, though.
All right, that was the one. He was like, Claypool. I was like, all right. We don't mind reading them. Yeah, we'll read them and talk about them. Yeah.
That's funny, like Claypool versus Juju or Washington. I mean, or Johnson. I'm sorry, because all of them were relatively really healthy last year.
Yeah,
or have been healthy. Juju's the one that's more injury prone, actually.
Yeah,
Deontay, I think, only missed a game.
Drops. Yeah,
Juju though, he was out for a significant time in 2019.
What was he? Was that the knee he was?
I don't know.
Or something like that. Yeah,
it was like a James Conner situation where he'd be back, and then he was he still hurt a little bit? He didn't look like himself.
Yeah.
But the point of just having that added depth, yes, is the Steelers organization as a Steeler fan. Yes, James Washington is great for us right now.
Heck yes.
We would love to have a potential receiver number 2 in our 4th spot.
I was about to say, name a better 4th receiver in the league.
It's great because, if one of our top receivers go down, we're not missing a beat at all.
Heck no, man.
We're not missing a beat. So it's great for us. But if you're James Washington, I get it. I completely understand trying to move on and get a chance to prove that you could be a number 2 receiver.
Yeah, and for me, the narrative of, well, just wait, you'll be Juju's replacement next year. Just wait, we're gonna feature you more in the offense. Just wait. If I'm James, I've waited for 3 years now, and none of those things have transpired, even when they should have. Even when guys hadn't performed to the expectations for them, I still didn't get that opportunity. So if you're James, man, it's kind of hard to trust what the organization is even going to say to him. And that's why we always say, like, it's different each player, right? Certain players, man, when they're getting told one thing and it's not playing out like that, that can sour you. That can make you look at this organization differently. So with James, man, that's one of those things that I would also be cautioned about as well going forward with this thing, the longer it plays out, because even if they don't trade him, but he's still not getting that usage increase, that issue isn't going to go away. If anything, it's going to just get worse. So that's the thing that I'm just like, man, this is interesting to follow right now, man.
I think the deadline with Rosenhaus, Washington.
That's a good call, though.
Set the deadline, and then I don't know. Then maybe you got to change your course then.
Yeah.
Whether it's being more demonstrative on social media, Twitter, maybe it is. I don't know if James Washington necessarily wouldn't come to a press conference and say, I'm requesting a trade,
we're going to tell James to pull up to my front yard in the driveway, take his shirt off, and start doing sit-ups. And then we would just live stream it and do Q&A just like that, you know? And I could call up my man Drew, be like, yo, Drew, you know where to pull up at? Just come, you know, we good. And then he'll pull up, and then we got it, bro. It'll be like the 2021 version, though. That would be pretty dope, though, bro.
Damn.
We could make that happen, too, low-key. We got the resources. We got the people. We're connected now.
Yeah, it could happen.
You know, yeah. And you got the taco meat out. So, when the taco meat's flowing off the birthday weekend, sheesh. I'm about to go play the lottery. Like, that's what we on right now, man.
I'm just trying to think if there's anything else to this scenario. I guess teams. People are floating out teams. Chiefs, Eagles, Saints. Yeah. We're not trading to the Chiefs. There's no shot in hell.
Why? We're better than the Chiefs, I thought. He's our fourth best receiver, right?
We're not trading to the Chiefs. There's no point in helping.
We got the better
AFC
quarterback.
contender.
We got the better running back. We got the better wide receivers. We got the better
you just don't shoot
we got
yourself
the
in the
better
foot, dude.
defense.
No.
We got the better coaches. We got the better stadium. We got the better fans. We got the better food. I mean, right? Come on, bro. We could trade him over there. Who cares?
We do, but you still got to be smart.
What are we being smart about?
I mean, he
gotta
probably
show up,
would,
bro.
He probably actually would be their receiver number 2 right off the bat.
Probably.
So him, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce, like. Yeah. You just got to be smart. You're not doing that.
Nah, man, we ain't tripping on that.
Who's bringing up the cheat? It's Dez Bryant. But I'm going to tell Dez.
I just saw Philly and the Saints. Those are the two I saw. Yeah.
I've seen Chiefs thrown out there too. But I don't know if it's just because of Dez.
Dez was hyping them up as soon as it came out, though.
It can't be a coincidence.
The Oklahoma State
He
boys,
throws
right?
that out there a day before, or it was around the Hall of Fame game, and all of a sudden this trade request comes out the next day.
Absolutely. You see what I'm saying?
It's not. It can't be a coincidence.
Hey,
either way,
I haven't heard anything. No trade request. What? What trade request you speak of? Okay.
Yeah, we can't trade him to the Chiefs. NFC team, Saints, Eagles are fine. Yeah. And what are we thinking?
If I'm Saints and Eagles, I'm not giving up anything more than a 4th because I know he's not happy, and I know you're not going to use him. I'm not going to give you anything crazy for a guy that you're not going to use. He's only going to get more disgruntled. And I know who his agent is. I saw how this played out with another receiver that got disgruntled. They're like, man, y'all don't have any leverage right now. If I'm sucks. The Eagles and the Saints, that's how I look at it, because he is the 4th receiver on your roster. How can you tell me he's worth the 2nd round pick when you won't even put him on the field? If I'm the Eagles, if I'm the Saints, if I'm the Chiefs, if I'm any other team, that's the conversation I'm having when I call Kevin Colbert and I call Mike Tomlin. You're not going to big boy me or strong boy me into giving up a crazy asset. Now, if I view him as that and I just want to give up that, that's one thing. But I don't think that'll be the case because the Steelers don't have a lot of leverage right now, man.
That really sucks.
Like, how do you speak on his value and hype him up so much when you're talking about trading him when you're not even going to put him on the field in your top 3 wide receiver lineup? Like, that's a legitimate thing. So I know he's going to be unrestricted next year, so we can easily just wait on him. He'll be unrestricted. I'll get him at a cheaper price. Or you could trade him for something so that way you at least get some type of compensation, talking about Pittsburgh, and you kind of roll that way. But yeah, if I'm one of them other teams, that's kind of my thought on it. I don't feel like he's going to be used enough where I need to give up that type of resource to get him from your team.
The initial comp that I made was Mohamed Sanu with the Falcons whenever he got a second-round pick.
Yes, he did.
Because the thing with Washington, at least he has more upside, in my opinion, than Sanu. Sanu was always like baseline, probably going to hit like 700-800 yards.
Kind of like gadgety a little bit too, man.
Exactly. Yeah. He got a second-round pick with New England, but the difference is you didn't hear anything about Sanu wanting out of Atlanta, and he was getting on the field a lot.
And New England needed a receiver like drastically, desperately. And I thought they looked at Sanu as that number one guy.
Man, dude, this sucks. Because I was hoping worst case third rounder, second rounder if we're lucky. The way you just lay it out, maybe it is fourth rounder. We're kind of in a bad spot with this.
Yeah. Now, just going back in some of the super chat and looking back into
I do have
the
a potential fake trade up in my head, though.
Okay, we'll talk. We'll get to it. Well, first I'll say, let's go UW once again, though. And we kind of did hit on this, but we appreciate your support. He was saying that he thinks that that James Washington will potentially be Juju's replacement next season. On paper, it sounds good, but I just don't see
That's what I was hoping for.
James Washington wanting to sit around knowing that, number one, what if Juju says he wants to come back? Hometown discount, right? That was the narrative this offseason. Juju took less to stay here because this is where he wants to be. This is his brand, right? So what keeps Juju from doing that again next year? Right? I mean, that was the narrative this offseason. He took less to stay here. So if he takes less to stay here again,
especially if Claypool and Deontay emerge, and then it's clear like Juju, all right, he's probably going to only be an 800, 900-yard receiver. His markets might not be as robust as he thinks it's going to be. So why not come back to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, man.
Where we utilize you in a certain role, you're going to be that nice slot receiver.
You know Ben is always going to get you your targets. Your Ben's
so you're saying Ben back? Nice.
Well, I'm just saying in general, right? Because I know you want Ben back, and we always like to just keep it positive in this room right here. So we'll just, conversation of hers, Ben's back next year, right? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but I want to say it was Kevin Cobra. He didn't hard no recently. He didn't hard no.
Oh, no.
Ben next year.
It's just positive reports.
Yeah. It was no hard nose. Yeah. So that's kind of why I was like, all right, if he's back next year, right? You know that's Juju's guy. Juju's his guy. So you know that that's going to still be there as well. So, yeah, if you're James, that whole premise of, just hang on till next season, just keep waiting. Keep waiting is going to have that man not getting paid. It's going to have that man to the point where he's too old to be compensated like how people want to compensate him. And, it's just not a good situation for him. So, man, it's bad. I just don't like that it had to be like this, but that is the business part of it. It's a good problem to have.
And here's the thing. We didn't know about this until now. We always just assumed James Washington, not saying he was thrilled about the scenario, but he's fine with it. He's going to let it play out, and then he'll see what happens in free agency next year. But now we know that he's a little unhappy. He has some displeasure where he's at on the Steelers roster. And now that we know that, it's like, okay, we actually don't blame you at all. We're surprised, in my opinion, this didn't happen sooner. Because you are a really good receiver. You're fourth on our depth chart, so I don't know what opportunities you're going to be getting here. So, now we just got to operate with this mindset that Washington wants out. How do we make the best of this scenario? And there's multiple ways. We don't know exactly how the Steelers are going to do it because it seems like they're pushing it aside and out in the public. We'll see how it plays out. But here's the trade I'm thinking of. Actually, I got two things, not trade, but I got another point I want to bring up with Washington.
Good, because I did see somebody else bring up something too in here about some potential movement in that room. So let's get it.
Apparently, CJ Henderson wants out of Jacksonville. Is that what was brought up in here?
No, that wasn't. But I'm familiar with that though. I saw that.
But he wants out in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
So I wonder if you could.
He was a former first round pick,
in
right?
2020.
A year ago. Yeah.
Another Florida defensive back.
Oh, Jesus.
Wants out of a Florida team.
Yeah.
Can we strike twice?
Man, that would be awesome, but I don't think that's going to happen, man. Number one,
I think they need a receiver, don't they?
I mean, they can never have enough receivers, but I will say this. I don't think we would give up enough for CJ. If you're Jacksonville, you're not, you know what you want with him, man.
We would need to give up a pick,
absolutely.
Too. It would need to be James. Absolutely. And you think a second or third.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, a year removed from being a first rounder? Absolutely.
James and a second or third. That's fair, though.
Yeah. But if you're Jacksonville, though, I just don't see why you would need to do that, man. Yeah, it's like it doesn't.
I guess you're right.
It's like, why though?
He only has 1 year left on his contract. Chances are he's not going to want to resign you, unless, hold on, let me check the depth chart though.
Because that's the thing.
Because he might get a lot of targets now.
No, they got DJ Chark down there. They got the other dude down there as well. John. Yeah, they got two good.
They just picked up Marvin Jones.
Yeah, and it's another guy that was there.
Chenault. They drafted him in the second round in 2020.
As I say, because they straight at receiver.
You're right. Jacksonville doesn't make that much sense.
And this is another reason when you're talking about James Washington's trade value. Another reason why I'm not giving up a ton of assets for him is because he is a 1 year rental.
Yep.
He is on his contract year, unrestricted free agent next season. So if you give up a second round draft pick for this dude and he decides not to re-sign here, you essentially blew it, right? You've given up a second round pick and you only got 1 year's worth of work out of him. Same can be said with a first round pick and a third round pick. So none of those things help out the Steelers in terms of leverage with this trade. But for James, he has a ton of leverage right now.
He does.
Because he knows, okay, I haven't even went the hardball route and I've already caused the ruckus. I know I have interest out there. I know teams want me. I know I'm talented enough and I'm a high enough pedigree guy where it's always exciting. Second round pick, oh yeah, I'll check him out. First round pick, I'll check him out. Compared to if he was a fourth round pick, nah, I don't really believe it. Sixth round pick, he's an overachiever. But because it's second round pick, you believe that. You like, man, I think something else can come out of this right here, man.
So do you really think he has the leverage though? He does from one standpoint, but the other standpoint is like the Steelers are like, all right, now what are you going to do? Just not show up? Now you're going to get fined.
No, so check it out. He doesn't have to not show up. No, you go the Debo approach. If you now, I don't.
That's what I mean. I don't think he's going to do that though.
But check me out. This is why I'm kind of getting at with this thing, right? The Debo approach is like the super heavy-handed approach, right? That takes a lot of substance, man.
Burning bridges.
Yeah, and blatantly doing it. Like that takes a lot. I don't think James would do that. But James' agent, for a fact, can do that. Drew Rosenhaus, and I love Drew. Drew's my guy. But for a fact, Drew
would be media warfare. Is that what he would do?
Right, absolutely. And Drew has the pool. Drew has the people in place that he could easily do. We've seen Drew does this on the regular. How many times do we see a big name player going through something contract related? Like, who's the agent? Drew. 2 weeks later, paid or trade. Like, that's how it works with Drew. Drew is a guy that gets stuff done, which is why James went with him. Because he knows, man. And James, similar temperament as me with this type of stuff. We're never going to voice our displeasure with the organization. We're never going to voice our displeasure with the coach or usage. But you can go through your agent and they do all that. They can mix it up and get dirty for you. And you stay looking clean the whole time. James can easily do that. All James simply has to do is say, hey, Drew, I'm still not happy. Drew, I know they tried to hype me up in practice the other day. I do not care. I do not want to be here. And Drew's going to say, okay, let me turn it up a little bit more. Turn it up a little bit more. I mean, we saw it, like I said, with AB, it was magnified because of who AB was, but Drew, he drove that ship.
AB played a part too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I don't think you're right. James, I just don't see him doing that. There's no way. But if Drew Rosenhaus could have some media warfare where that's all we're hearing, like, what if we're just talking about this for the next 2 or 3 weeks?
Like, think about
Steelers
how much
aren't going to want to deal with that
be,
anymore.
Man. Yeah. And even though James wouldn't have to say anything.
No, he could just say, I'm here with the Steelers. I'm playing hard.
I'm here. And he showed up to practice. Played hard. Worked hard. Cool. So that's kind of like how I'm looking at it. Like, man, if they decide to try to play hardball, James has a lot more leverage. And James also knows that, hey, worst case scenario, if I'm going to sit up here and be the fourth receiver anyways, well, shoot, I'm hitting the market next year. And even though I'll probably make less money. He just can't pull
a bell or anything. He just needs to show up the rest of the season so he doesn't lose a year.
Exactly. Show up, make sure you're healthy, make sure you're going to still hit your free agency year, and after that, you're good to go. You'll be gone in a year. So that's why I said for James, it's never going to hurt him, because for the Steelers, if he goes out next year and signs somewhere, well, now you lost a receiver and you didn't receive any type of compensation because he's not going to get a crazy big contract where you're going to get a comp pick in return. So once again, for the Steelers, now you're asking yourself, all right, do we want to let him walk and get zero for him in return? What's the likelihood of us being able to re-sign him? Or is Juju going to come back? Like we talked about a little bit earlier. Those are all the things you have to like go through your head if you're Kevin Colbert, if you're Coach Tomlin, when you're playing out this scenario. Because it's a lot that can be impacted by these moves, whether you make it or not make it.
I get you. Yeah, the leverage standpoint I was thinking of was like, what is James Washington gonna do? Like, he's gonna still show up to the team. I don't think he's going to be making a ruckus. But the leverage standpoint, the agents, that's like the biggest key right there. Because if Rosenhaus is going to turn it up, then I do think he has a little bit more leverage. Because it's not like he's going to sit out, is my point.
No, I don't think he'll sit out at all.
That wouldn't be wise on James Washington.
But he wouldn't need to sit out either, though. As the fourth wide receiver, they're not going to use him like that.
If he's completely fine with just showing up, being the fourth receiver, going to work, not trying to get hurt, and just making it to the offseason, then yes, he has the leverage. But my thought was, like, if he's really itching to just get out there and be on a different team, wide receiver number 2, that this situation would be so unbearable for him, then he loses leverage there. Yeah. But if he's just fine with it, the status quo, then I think he's fine. The Rosenhaus element changes things a little bit, though.
And like I said, for a fact, the Steelers are not going to want to deal with him if he comes in and starts saying, well, you know what, I'm going to be a distraction every day. Imagine if every day he shows up to work, he's doing different things to be a distraction.
Who, James?
Yeah.
We don't think he is.
We don't think he will. But if he did, that
changes it,
gives
too.
It even more leverage. So that's what I'm saying for James. He has options. He has the option we said going through Drew. He has the option of him being the person. So either way, the Steelers, in terms of their leverage, the only thing they can say is, we got your contract rights. That's it. But that's expiring in 7-8 months, So the Steelers don't have as much leverage as they would like to in this situation.
Yeah, right.
And that's, I think that also has affected, or it will affect, if they try to trade him and what they could get back for him ultimately, man.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Yeah.
Here's the other question I had. Did Steelers make the right move with Juju versus James Washington? Because that would have been the decision maybe you make this last offseason.
Yeah.
With them bringing Juju back, that just goes to show, like, hey, we're not valuing you, James Washington, as this receiver 3 or this guy that could take the next step for us. Did they make the right decision, you think? Because there's a lot of people in the comments saying, like, I'd honestly just rather have James Washington. I think we paid Juju too much. We should have tried our hand with James Washington at wide receiver number 3.
Yeah, I mean, plenty of people I've seen have said that as well. I could easily see why they would say that. James does give you a little bit more versatility as the wide receiver option, even though Juju is more dominant in terms of him being in the slot. That, to me, is the biggest difference. Now, we don't know if James could be a dominant receiver on the edges because we haven't seen enough of him out there with Ben. But we do know with Juju, he's elite slot receiver, right? So when I think of those two guys, it's kind of personal preference, right? Do you want to go with James Washington, who is still a little bit of an unknown in terms of his full potential on the perimeter, but you have a guy like Deontay Johnson, you have a guy like Chase Claypool? Or would you rather go with the certainty of knowing that, hey, if these younger two guys struggle, which they did last year at some points, right? At least you have a consistent person in Juju that with 7, you can make the offense work. And when I think of that, I mean, hindsight 2020, sure, you're like, well, hey, man, James has shown that he could grow a little bit, man. We could have went with him. But I just don't think with Ben coming off of the injury last year that was going to be what they wanted to do. I think that they were going to try to make it as best a situation from a comfort perspective for Ben as possible, and making sure that Juju was back out there, making sure that Connor was back out there, making sure the O-line was the O-line, all his guys. I think that was more so why they even made it a priority to bring Juju back this year.
It's just a tough call because I do think Washington has potential, but do I want to bet the Steelers' future on that potential? Where, if we're being real, back in 2019, I know I think it's better looking back because we understand the quarterback situation. Yeah. But there was a reason we were talking about receiver as a need in that 2020 draft, and we ultimately picked Claypool. So it wasn't like Washington completely showed us that his future was secure here in Pittsburgh and that we should be betting all of our money on him. He did enough where you're just like, oh, he could be a nice depth guy for us, but we're looking for a bona fide guy, which is why we ended up picking Claypool. Right. And then we get Ben back.
Number 1 receivers.
That's and we thought Deontay flashed more potential than
to be a number 1,
in my opinion. Yes.
Yeah. And that was the thing. I mean, on paper, Deontay did flash. Claypool, he does check those boxes. But James is a 2nd round pick. That's the thing I think we all kind of like overlooked when we were talking about
2019 screwed him.
Yeah,
that was his chance to hit that 1,000 yards. It was between him and Moncrief coming in. Yeah. Ben gets hurt second week though. Yeah. So we didn't get to really see that chance.
Perception of him, man. Yeah. Now let's go UW. He brought up, should we trade James Washington to the Patriots for was it Chris Winovich?
Chase Winovich.
Or excuse me, Chase Winovich. What I call him Chris? It's Chris. I'm tripping right now. But yeah, Chase Winovich, man, the local kid, right?
Didn't those things lighten up though? There was tension a couple months ago, but
during like OTAs
now
and stuff, right?
It seems like it's pretty seamless up there with those two.
That's what I was thinking also, man.
Should we do that?
I thought we don't trade with the Patriots though. We trade, or is that?
I'd rather not.
Is that cool now? Can we do that?
It seems like they're good with the receivers they had, though. They spent a lot of money on those dudes. Aguilar, man. The former dude from Jacksonville, I forget who it was.
But if you, Aguilar, I'm going James Washington over Aguilar. I like Aguilar. Aguilar creates separation, but I don't trust his hands.
Yeah, he actually did have a decent year last year.
I know, but I don't trust his hands.
No, you're right.
He had a good year.
He's scarred Philly fans, huh?
I'm scarred. Yeah.
So what do you think then, Juju versus James? I think they made the right call. Like at the end of the day, if you're putting money on it, I'd rather have Juju back probably.
Yeah,
we both have them for 1 year each.
I like proven productivity. I'm always going to err on the side of proven productivity versus going with the potential, but I haven't seen it just yet. I haven't seen enough of it just yet. Do I think James Washington could be a number 2 receiver? Yeah, I think he can. I know Juju can though. That's there. Like we've seen Juju do that. With James, you're speculating. We're projecting. With that, you're always taking a little bit of risk. Now, some people don't mind the risk, but for me, I'm a big person that would just rather go with Juju because I know what that is. I can work around that versus the inconsistency that I don't know what it's going to be. I'm not a fan of that.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
In my opinion, picking one or the other doesn't necessarily mean you're picking either or long term because they're both 1 year contract
right now, man.
And with us having Deontay and Claypool, that's always going to be there, in my opinion. Like those are the two dudes I think we should be building our future, and Najee. Like we should be building our future offense around.
I agree, man. I agree. So now you ready to get to this next one? Like I said, we got plenty of spice to talk about today. But before we get to that next one, man, shout out to Eric Regal, man. We appreciate you. He says 400 plus people watching right now. Smash that like button. I agree with you, man. In fact,
I'm gonna do it too.
413. We got 123 on the likes, but it's the first hour of the show, so we got time to catch that thing up on the back end. And Shaquille Gregory also seconds that. He says hit that like button with about 4 exclamation points. Yes, he did. And like I said, man, I agree with him, man. My man speaks straight values or straight facts. Get that right. All right, so that was the first bombshell, though, man. The second bombshell that we had coming out of Steelers training camp was with TJ Watt and his contract situation. Steelers defensive coordinator and outside linebackers coach Keith Butler essentially confirmed what a lot of us had talked about, or at least who were speculating on, in terms of TJ Watt's being at practice but not participating in practice is largely because of the contract situation. You call it a hold in, you call it whatever you want to call it. Essentially, what's taking place right now. Yeah, hold in, right? Hold out is like when you don't show up because you don't get your contract. He's like, I'm going to show up, but I'm not going to practice. So we're calling it a hold in. Okay. All right. So Keith Butler essentially said that he supported TJ's decision, and he thought that it was the right decision by TJ. If you don't have the new contract, you don't need to be out there on that field risking it, man, because of the money that he's in line to make. I was a little surprised, though, that Coach Butts actually went that far to confirm it, because typically they don't talk about that type of stuff. Typically, if a guy's not practicing,
you broke the news first, if anything.
Low key,
you were ahead of the game.
Though. Chill out. Don't do that now. I ain't break no news. Nope.
You didn't break news. You speculated.
I speculated.
Yeah, you were like, I think this might be what's going on.
I had a strong hunch. It was a hunch. Yeah, don't break no. I don't want to break no.
No,
news.
we're not news breakers.
We're not a news breaker business.
We react.
No.
We react.
Don't put that on. Don't you put that on me, baby. Don't you do that. Oh, don't you do that? Because we'll see in the next topic that we talk about, when you break news, man, even if your news could be accurate, it's still not good, man, because people kill you for that. I don't want to break any stories. But yeah, I was surprised that Keith Butler did confirm that, because typically they don't do that. Typically they would just give you with the he's working to get back, he'll be out there when it's supposed to be out there, and they don't have to go in depth. But hearing him talk about the contract situation and bring validity to what we were speculating, now that has become a new talking point, because the question starts now is you got 5 weeks, a little over 5 weeks before the opener, right? And TJ hasn't taken any practice reps. I mean, he works to the side, but he's not doing any team stuff. He's not doing any of the contact stuff, like no pad work, none of that, right? And now the conversation was, well, how long do you allow that to go on, or how long until he becomes a little bit more frustrated with these negotiations, timelines, deadlines, and things like that. So obviously, I was like, man, let's get up here and talk about that, baby. Like, what, because for me, as the former player, I 100% agree with what TJ is doing, because when you're TJ Watt and you're in line to become the highest paid defensive player in the NFL, yeah, in training camp, man, would he want to be out there? Absolutely. TJ is a guy who plays better when he practices. No different than when we saw L. Bell. Remember, L. Bell didn't show up to training camp, right? No preseason, came in that first game and struggled early on. We don't want that with TJ. That's typically how it plays out, though, just globally. When you look around the league, guys that hold out or guys that aren't practicing for whatever reason, they start slow or they deal with soft tissue injuries early on in the season as well. So trust me, TJ wants to be out there practicing, but for TJ, it doesn't make sense to go out there and practice with the money that you're in line to make. You can't take that risk. But then from the organization side, I get a little bit frustrated because we knew in April that he was supposed to be in line to be the highest paid defensive player. You knew when he ended last season, 2 years back to back, number 2 in the voting for defensive player of the year, that he was going to be needing to get this type of contract. We've seen guys that haven't had his productivity or his longevity or his availability get paid that type of money. Joey Bosa, Myles Garrett. So we know what the number is. So for me, if you're Pittsburgh, this is like the part that frustrates with the business of just the negotiations. Why do you allow it to get here? Nothing has changed. You knew you were going to need to pay him. You knew the cap was going up next year. You knew the timing of it in terms of when you needed to do the deal and how it would hurt you or how it wouldn't hurt you. Why do you allow it to get to training camp and we're a couple weeks into this thing and now we're having to talk about, oh, TJ Watt's still not practicing. TJ Watt still doesn't have that contract. Like, why does it take so long to get that deal done?
I'm not 100% sure. I mean, both sides are trying to do what's best for them because TJ wants to get the most money. Steelers are probably trying to get that number down a little bit and somehow, some way.
But this is my issue with that. When we're talking about why you pay a guy, productivity, okay, potential, all right, pedigree, where were you drafted at, all right, availability, off-field issues, character. Does he not check all 5 of those boxes? Have we ever had any off-field issues with TJ? Have we ever worried about TJ's availability? Have we ever worried about TJ's productivity? Have we ever questioned his pedigree? Like, he checks every single box. And it's just like, well, what are you going to say negatively about TJ to say that he's worth less than what Myles Garrett got? That he's worth less than what the Bosa boy got? Like, let me know where you're going to point to something that says that. And that to me is the frustrating part, because you don't have any reason to not pay that man that. If it's guaranteed money, what is your reason to not give him that guaranteed money? And here we are.
I mean, here's the question. Yeah. Then did the Browns and the Chargers overpay for this?
It doesn't matter if they did.
No, that's the problem.
Doesn't matter if they did. The new market is the market. Absolutely. That's how it goes, man.
And if you know Steelers, that's how it goes. I don't think you want to let a player of his caliber, especially edge rusher, like you want to talk about cornerstone positions, quarterback, edge rusher. I guess you could throw cornerback in there too.
Yeah.
Left tackle. Like those are cornerstone positions. I don't know if you just necessarily want to let walk or have a bad situation with them, especially heading into this season. It's tough, dude. It's tough because what's the number? So you think for a fact it's not for a fact, but are you speculating that he just wants to be paid higher than Joey Bosa? Like he wants the highest number.
The highest number is Donald, I thought.
Defensively, I just got edge rushers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like highest, like this dude.
Because Bosa's at 27,
second in the ranking for defensive player of the year on consecutive seasons. Bosa ain't done that. Garrett ain't done that.
I know.
Like, that's a different conversation. That's what I'm saying here. Like, where are we trying to set this line where his number should be anything less than that?
I'm not saying it should be.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think that's just the tough part. I mean, if you're the Steelers, have we paid a guy like that?
Have we had a player like that, though? Debo, when he got to that lane, he was older. Troy, I don't know
and
the numbers.
The numbers are so different now than
these
then,
guys are getting
too.
QB money. Like, he's going to be in that 30 range, like, realistically.
I just never thought we did those type of deals with defense, like the QB money with defensive players.
But typically,
that's got to be the hesitancy, though, a little bit. And I don't blame the Steelers for that.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, because really, for us, man, it's always just like you pay Ben, and we're making it work outside of that. If it's too high, we let you go. And that and that's usually the case, and that's usually worked out for us. I mean, you could point to an outlier or two, but
I mean, in the chat, right? A lot of people are saying that you got to pay him. Alex Mendez, he says the market makes the market. You got to cut that check for him, man. Oh man, it just jumped on me. But cool, Chris. TJ's contract is gonna be big with the 3 capital G's because we know it is gonna be big. Now, one of the knocks in terms of why they shouldn't pay TJ this crazy money and why they are negotiating. I'm losing where the guy's name is, but he brings up TJ's lack of sacks in the postseason.
No, that can't be a reason.
I'm just throwing it out there, but that is something that people could potentially say. Donald Copley says no sacks in the playoffs. They are negotiating. He's been to 2 playoff games, right?
We made the playoffs in 17, rookie year. But then he
was started the whole season. Don't side out of rookie year. He was playing the whole year. He was started from day one.
And
remember that's how the Debo situation started. Yeah, and then last year versus the Browns.
Okay, I get that. That because that plays into my point of like $30 million to an edge rusher. Does that promote winning? You know what I mean?
You bring up a great call. That's a great question.
Promote winning.
Yeah.
And that's why I was asking, like, did they overpay for Myles Garrett and Joey Bosa?
But another thing I'll say is this, though. And this isn't to, like, rub anybody the wrong way, but if you're TJ Watt and you said, does paying an edge rusher $30 million promote winning? Could he easily not say, does paying Ben, what you paid him a year ago, which you try to do with the cap to pay him this year, does that promote winning compared to what I can do for you? If you're TJ Watt, because TJ is one of those guys on that team that can legitimately say his impact is of that level, right? It's not a lot of people that can talk that, hey, man, our impact is kind of like in Ben's conversation. I think TJ, Minka, you can throw Cam in there a tiny bit, but not to the same extent, right? If you're TJ, though, that could be a legitimate counter to that negotiation right there, though.
Well, I just think it's the thought of who else are you going to pay.
Yeah.
I think that's what it comes down to. Like, hey, man, this is the market. Who else are you going to pay? This is what I'm worth. And you should, I think any player would be thinking that. Like, I think highly of myself, and I think I should be paid this amount.
Yeah.
But this is why we have a negotiation right now, as you could see. Like, I could see why there's... because we've never because I'm not gonna lie to you, all of a sudden TJ Watt has $30 million.
It changes a lot, right?
I'm feeling a little bit different about him. He's playing how he is on this rookie contract, and we feel amazing about it.
30 mil, I want to sack every game. 30 mil,
that's
I need 2 sacks every game.
He will be highly scrutinized and criticized now with $30 million.
It's different, yeah.
Like, who's getting what's Dak's getting 40,
right?
Like,
but Donald was the first defender like of this generation to go start getting that quarterback money. Like, Mario Williams was the first to get $100 million, but Donald was the first to really get that quarterback type money. And think about him. He's been able to at times exceed that, which is crazy to say. But even on his down year where he has 13.5 sacks, think about how we would say, he's just had 13 sacks. That's it. Like,
as an interior defensive lineman.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That's the expectation when you start getting paid like that. So with TJ, that would change. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 30 million, that changes a lot how we look at him, man.
That's why I find funny with the fans saying like, "Oh, you got to pay TJ. TJ's gonna get big money." Oh yeah, I'm like, bro, do you know what that means though? Like, I get it.
30 mil, you're gonna be cutting corners in other positions.
We love TJ, and bro, like, that's the thing. Like, you're not. I don't think you're gonna just let him go. Like, I wouldn't. Let me put it to you this way: we're in a no-win scenario. I don't feel.
Deke said, "Yo, we love you, TJ, but for 30, oh no, oh my god,
it's different, dude."
Hey, yo, I love your honesty, though, bro.
I'm just being straight up.
I love
it's
that.
It's a no-win scenario for me right now. God. Because if things go bad, we let TJ walk.
Yeah.
Damn, we just let a generational talent go who's in the prime of his
future
career.
Hall of Famer.
Then if we sign him, it's for $30 million. It's like, oh, dude, I don't know how good I feel about this.
$30 million is a ton for an edge rusher, bro.
Yeah,
I mean that's what the market is for TJ though. That's where he's at.
Because like you think, all right, so Khalil Mack got a huge contract with the Bears. Like he set the market. What have the Bears done? Mm-hmm. Von Miller, Broncos, after they won the Super Bowl. That his contract was in 2016. They haven't done shit. They haven't found a quarterback. Mm-hmm. Now with Bosa, we'll see. They have Justin Herbert.
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. We'll see. Baker Mayfield, though. I mean, they're gonna have to pay Baker Mayfield like $40 million bucks, maybe.
They absolutely.
So now it's gonna be those two guys.
Yeah. They got to be your staples. Now,
I don't think that's going to be good for the Browns.
Now, the one thing I can say about the Steelers in terms of why they could be a little bit more optimistic about paying TJ, not saying that this is what they're thinking, but if they viewed it as, hey, Ben isn't coming back next year, we know with Haskins, he's going to be super cheap. We'll probably draft a quarterback as well, super cheap. We could afford to go back to that model we talked about, right? The rookie quarterback salary, high paid everywhere else. We saw Seattle do that. We've seen Cleveland do it for a while now. Buffalo was doing it. Plenty of teams have went that process of paying everybody else and rocking with a young quarterback. If they are thinking that, then that could also be a thing where they will say, well, we don't mind paying TJ to 30 or 30 plus because we know this is what we're going to transition to next year. So that could also play into it. But we don't know how they feel about Ben right now. I don't think nobody does until we see them play. You need to see them play.
So let's say Ben wants to come back. Is he doing the Brady Breeze, 20 mil?
I don't know.
Which I think we could make that if Ben's like 20.
I mean, the cap is going to go crazy next year. But the problem is you're going to be paying. You got to pay TJ. Minka's coming up after that, and then you're going to have to look into Tuitt as well.
Yeah,
think about that's another one, and that doesn't account for Devin Bush, who's going to be slowly getting there. Yeah, and still doesn't determine what you're going to do with Juju if you're trying to bring him back or not. So
this is life. This is why we have the draft, though.
Yeah. So that's the business of the game, right? But yeah.
So what are you thinking then? You had the standpoint or sentiment that like a deal should have just got done. Like
I would have much rather you paid him because you knew what his market was going to be. He's been productive since he's gotten here. He hasn't given you any reason to say no. That's my thing. If you bring up the playoffs, if that's why you say no, I can understand that. And okay, that's the case. Then we'll have a even deeper dialogue because what he's been able to do in the regular season, when you're talking about being number 2 in the voting for Defensive Player of the Year on back-to-back seasons, to me, that weighs a lot more heavier than 2 playoff games, and one of them was your rookie season. That's just kind of how I look at it. And it's not poo-pooing the rookie season because, like I said, he played well his rookie year. He played a ton, started from day one. But what he's been able to accomplish doing the regular season body of work has been ridiculous at times. You pay those type of players, especially when his counterparts, his contemporaries are getting paid like that, and he's better than them. He's more productive than those guys. To me, I think it's a no-brainer. You cut the check for that guy right there, man.
I get it. I see the Steelers hesitancy though.
Yeah, I can. When you broke it down like that, 30 mil for the edge, like the expectation drastically changes. It drastically changes.
I just don't think you let that guy walk though. Yeah. This is why it's no win. I think. Yeah. It is if he completely balls out. I guess now the numbers. So now paying that extra $5 million seems like not a big deal if he keeps on this trajectory. But that's no guarantee. I mean, we think it is.
Well, the question we have then. Because we're gonna transition too because we gotta keep it rolling. But the real question becomes, would you rather have TJ Watt at 30 mil plus and no Big Ben at quarterback next year? Or would you rather keep Ben and whatever happens?
TJ's walking, dude. I'm sorry. We got Ingram. I saw some of those spin moves from Highsmith. We'll be all right.
Let's go.
I'm sorry.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is big Deke energy right there, man. And you stay true to it, man. That's why we love you.
That's the case.
You got to stay true to it. My man said, look, bro, TJ, 30. I appreciate you. Have a great career. Golly. Hey, Roscoe Smokes, man. He just joined the upper room. Roscoe Smokes, man. Shout out to you, baby. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. That's funny, bro. We got to see what the
Deke's delusional. No, I'm being straight up. I'm being straight up because
no, I don't think he's delusional. I think he's legitimate.
I'm being
man.
straight up, dude. Like,
yeah,
having been at dude, think Brady is at a contract for
right.
$25 million. Like, that is huge value.
That. Yeah.
If what plays out, how I'm talking about with Ben, that he is still in that elite class, to get him back on $25 million, that is a huge value.
That would be.
TJ Watt at $30 million. Are we saying value? I don't know.
Yeah. Now
Ben's got to ball out. I'll be straight up. Ben's got to ball out. He's got to continue to prove that he's in that elite status.
Correct.
If he does that, then I would 100% rather have Ben back.
Now, Cam Leston, man, we appreciate you. He says, Deke, quit playing. Stop overthinking this. Steelers need to pay Watt immediately. We do not want to lose him. We do agree that we don't want to lose TJ. I think the sentiment, though, is the 30 mil number is the sticking point for my man Deke. The 30 mil for edge is a ton. Not everybody is comfortable with that. You know me. I'm all for it. I would pay him 40 because I love edge rushers. But I can't throw that number out there, all right? So with that being said, 30 is the magic number right now, or at least in that ballpark, just based on what the other guys have gotten and, that are comfortable with that.
People want to cancel me right now. They're saying get me off the show.
It's more so because they, you said you want Ben next year over my man TJ. That's the lightning rod. You know that, but it can. The only way it can work, Ben would have to take way less money. I don't know, and he would have to actually look like he could still get it done. We're talking about a full season later. I mean. Think about a year ago, this time, our perception of Ben, then the midway point with Ben, then the end part of Ben, then once the season ended, how we looked at it. So with 7 right now, I still feel like it's too early to even make plans yay or nay for him next season because we're not going to know that until we get the full 17 games out of him, man. So that's kind of like why I'm not 100% like against what you're saying in terms of, oh man, you got to keep Ben, whatever, because we don't know what he's going to look like throughout the duration. But with TJ is a foundation piece. TJ is a franchise staple. You talk about having a franchise edge rusher. Dude, I was here in 2014. We had to do the group thing because none of us were franchise edge rushers at that time. That's how it played out. We got it. We made it work, but it was a lot more difficult on us. It made the defense, have to work a lot harder just based on how we were constructed defensively. When you have a guy like TJ, it takes a lot of that away. You don't have to become exotic. You don't have to say, well, hey, man, if the corners on the back end aren't as good as we think they are, maybe we got to blitz these guys to get pressure. No. You don't have to do that because you got TJ. So now you're like, hey, man, I'm a lot more confident with James Pierre out there at corner when TJ Watt is rushing compared to if that is Cassius Mark. Well, now we got Melvin Ingram, so it's changed a little bit, right? Melvin and Highsmith.
So maybe Melvin Ingram wasn't for depth.
Stop it.
Stop
it, bro. We're definitely not going.
I'm just saying. Were they also thinking of a different situation?
Bro, TJ Watt has to be on this team, bro.
I feel like
I don't want to talk about this defense if we're not talking about TJ Watt being included. I already had to lose my dog Bud. You know that when I'm looking about my guys, right? All my guys are starting to leave out that room. TJ is last of a dying breed right now. Okay, Highsmith, we like Highsmith, but we weren't in there with Highsmith, so it's different. TJ, come on, man. That's blood, sweat, and tears together. Last of a dying breed. Pay that man. He has to stay here, baby. Has to, man.
I'm thinking. Even if TJ gets this contract, you can still make it work with Ben in the offseason for sure. I don't think it comes down to that because we still have a ton of cap space. Mm-hmm. TJ is going to be the only guy that takes anything into that cap space from what I know of. So we're still going to be able to, I think, make the numbers work one way or another. But if you're asking me one way or another, I told you I'm going 7. If it somehow came down to that, I told you.
I did see somebody in the chat. They were saying for TJ, just simply give him incentives this year and then sign him long term next season. The reason why I don't think that works out like that, TJ's scheduled to make, was it like 14, 15 this year tops?
It's double digits, right?
Yeah, it's in that range tops though, right? So even with incentives, if you give him another $5 million in incentives, he's still going to be $10 million short of what he should be making on a per year basis. So once again, it still doesn't make a lot of sense for TJ to do that. But the thing that's unique in this situation, unlike James Washington, the Steelers have all of the leverage in this situation. You know why? You ready for this?
Hear me out, because the Ingram.
No, not even
a little bit.
No, check it out. This is why. 5th year option, franchise tag.
Oh yeah.
Franchise tag.
This is Le'Veon Bell.
You own him for the next 3 years. If
it's looking like it's $10 million this year.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yep. So if you're, because Bud was the one who was on 14, but he was on franchise tag, whereas with TJ's 5th year option. Good call on that. But with the Steelers, in terms of why they have all the leverage in this thing, 5th year option, 2 times they can franchise tag. So that's 3 years they control TJ Watt. Also TJ's under contract right now.
Yeah.
So if TJ decides not to show up to practice, if TJ decides not to play in games, if TJ decides that he's not going to show up to work, they can fine him $30,000 every day that he's not there. It's that simple. And then if he decides to do anything else, they can go to this little special category that's called conduct detrimental, where it's a limitless amount that they can fine you. That's the other, or fine you. That's the other way that the Steelers could approach this thing if it went there. I was a little surprised with TJ's taking this approach, because that hasn't been TJ's demeanor. TJ has typically been a guy that, man, he's going to be out there regardless. Health doesn't matter. He's practicing, right? But this is the first time that he's been in line for a contract of this magnitude. So it was interesting to see how he handled it. It's like the mix right now, though, between L. Bell and Mike Hilton in terms of how he's going about it. L. Bell decided that he wasn't going to show up for anything. Mike Hilton showed up for everything. Both of those guys ended up getting paid elsewhere.
Mike Hilton's more in the James Washington category, though, because he was unrestricted.
Yeah.
James Washington's just got a year. You bring up a good point with TJ Watt. It's 3 years.
Yeah.
Like, you want to sit out and do all this other stuff. It's like, we could just tag you next year.
Absolutely,
tag you the
man.
following year.
Yeah.
But this is the weird part, and it goes back to what you said at the beginning. Like, the Steelers said we're trying to get a deal done with TJ Watt this offseason. So it's not like one of those things. Like with Bell, it never really felt like that was completely on the forefront, because the contract they would offer him would be just front loaded with the guaranteed money. It would be like only 15 or 16 million.
Correct.
Or that's what he was going to be getting anyway if they just kept franchise tagging him.
Correct.
In this scenario, they're talking about a long-term contract. So it doesn't seem like that's in their plans.
Yeah.
But it could, if everything goes south, that could be the way it goes.
Yeah. And that's ultimately why I said with the Steelers, they still have that. And when you bring up Melvin Ingram, this is how he plays into it, just in the sense of if TJ were to not play this year, right? I do not think that happens at all. But at the same time, I didn't think we would see this happening either. If that does happen, though, where TJ says, well, you know what? You didn't pay me. I'm not going to show up, right? We know the Steelers have their deadline of, hey, we don't negotiate once the season starts. TJ could say, well, I got my deadline. I don't play once the season starts. At least with Melvin, it won't be a disaster, right? Melvin is still going to be able to come out there and start opposite Alex Highsmith, and you can make it work. Now, it won't be nowhere near the same, but you can at least make it work. So once again, leverage falls back on the Steelers side. Now, I don't think that is going to move TJ's needle one way or the other, because if you're TJ,
I don't know if that's enough.
You're saying, like, I don't care about that. I mean, y'all gonna hurt more than me. I'm still going to get paid one way or the other.
We are trying to win a Super Bowl. We are all in. So not having TJ Watt would hurt us as much as having Melvin Ingram helps.
Oh my! I'm sorry.
It would really hurt.
I shouldn't have read that. That was funny. Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is it?
They said that you dress up as Big Ben for Halloween every year, and I did not mean to see that, bro. It like, you know how like you're looking at chat and just catch your eye at the wrong time, bro. Like, oh man.
No, I don't do that.
His grandpa's Big Ben, like, oh man, come on, man, we got to chill, man. Why yo?
Hey, they're funny. Listen, I'm self-aware though. It's funny. I don't care. These are funny.
Well, yeah, man. This is gonna be interesting to see though how it plays out. And now, because Keith Butler has confirmed it, this was the other thing. The way the team had been trying to go about it, and why I spoke of it the way that I did, they didn't want this to become a thing. They didn't want that to publicly be out there. They kind of enjoyed the, oh yeah, well, he's working, you know.
It's going to get done.
And by the rule of who's available and who's not, during training camp, they don't have to give an injury report. And with practices, the way that it works, and this is training camp and during the season, as long as a guy has a jersey on and cleats, they're participating in practice. So when you ask, is TJ Watt there? Did he participate in practice? He had his jersey on when they came out the stretch. Yep, he participated. Even though I'm watching it, I'm like, He isn't doing any team drills. He's not doing any individual work. He's working by himself over here with the strength coach. Remember I said strength coach, not training staff. That's the difference in terms of guys that are injured versus guys that are, they got something else going on in terms of why they're not on that field, whether it's disgruntled, whether it's contract, whether it's whatever else they got, vet day, whatever. That's how you could tell who works with who. TJ every single day has been working in that group. He's not working over there with the injured guys. So when we speculated that, because we don't break news, we speculate, that was why right there, man. But yeah, I feel like, man, you got to get the deal done somehow, bro. Got to get it done somehow, man. I just don't want this to keep going on because it's going to get talked about that much more now. Once Keith Butler confirmed it, now this is going, every day that TJ is out there and he's not practicing, every day that the contract isn't done, they're going to be asked about it. It's going to be talked about. And that's just what we have to deal with now.
How do you feel about the holding approach?
I told you, for me,
Is it actually more of a distraction?
I'm 50-50 on it. I feel like whenever you're talking about guys winning money, it's always going to be a distraction to some level. Now, as a player, because I've been in locker rooms with guys going through contract disputes and stuff like that, you just kind of focus on what you can focus on. Okay, if that guy gets there, man, it's going to work out. He's going to be ready to go. Sometimes they show up and they are ready to go. Sometimes they show up and it takes them a couple of games to get going. But you just bank on the fact that, they're going to get there. We just lock in. We're not going to discuss it. We're not acknowledging it publicly. If a reporter asks us, I do not care. Like, that's his money, right? And that's why when the guys here in Pittsburgh commented on L. Bell, it's kind of like, what are y'all doing? Y'all,
the lineman.
Yeah, it's like, I understand, like, at the time, it was a lot going on, but you just don't do that. That's not how you operate in the NFL, right? So it will be a distraction, but I think it'll more so be for the organization and how they like their perception to be, because it's going to constantly get brought up and it's going to constantly, when Coach Simon talks, every day that he talks, if TJ Watt is not signed to a new contract, he's going to have to answer that question. Keith Butler, every time he talks, if TJ's not under contract, he's going to have to answer that question. The reports now, the media here isn't like a Philly or New York where they really want to like stir the pot and really poke that bear. But realistically, if you get a reporter that says, I want to flame this fire even more. Well, now every time I talk to Alex Highsmith, every time I talk to Melvin Ingram, every time I talk to Cam Hayward, every time I talk to Stephon Tuitt, every time I talk to Devin Bush, Minka, Joe, man, y'all concerned that TJ Watt not going to be here? Y'all concerned he's not going to get this deal done? What if he holds out? What if he doesn't play? How y'all going to answer that? Now it becomes even bigger. And as you can see, that's how it can continue to just balloon out. And that's why I'm just like, if you're the Steelers, why do you want it to even get to that? Just take care of this man. Pay this man.
Yeah, and if you're TJ Watt, the Mike Hilton approach probably isn't doing you any good. Yeah. Just because if you practice and end up playing, $10 million, there's something to the ego that's just not feeling good about that. Where you're getting $10 million, you're seeing Joey Bosa getting like 27. And
you're looking at Myles Garrett and you're saying, Myles, outside of a physical appearance difference, what do you have that's better than me? Like, seriously, like what have you done that's better than me in any way, shape, or form in the NFL? So yeah. You talk about Tim, or you talk about give him some incentives. Would you give him $20 million in incentives? Like, come on, baby.
I get it. I get it from TJ's perspective. I get it from the Steelers' perspective. Like I said, paying $30 million to an edge rusher like that, I can see the hesitancy. I don't know how they can work that deal where it's in their favor in a way, but man, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I wouldn't have expected this to get to this point. We just thought TJ was going to be on this defense, and our defense was going to be back to the top 3, top 5, especially with Bush coming back. We have Minka and everything, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, this is becoming a little bit more interesting as the season gets closer.
It definitely has, man. It definitely has. All right, so I think that was all for that spicy situation right there, but that's something that we'll be monitoring, man. We'll keep it going. The next spicy thing that we had, Kevin Dotson.
You brought up Tomlin talking about something, right?
Yeah, man. Your boy's 6'9", and I'm not talking about Tekashi, baby. Kevin Dotson returns to practice, but he returns to the second offensive line unit. And then fearless leader, Coach Mike Tomlin, future Hall of Famer, when asked about Kevin Dotson and why he wasn't running with the first unit. Do you have? I want the exact quotes, please, because I would hate to mess this up in any way, shape, or form.
He has done nothing to earn first-team reps.
Say that again, please. I didn't hear you.
He has done nothing to earn first-team reps. What are we talking about? He's a second-year guy who hasn't worked.
Interesting.
Did you see his body language on that one and the tone of his voice? You didn't hear the interview.
I'm messing.
Man,
you don't like that?
I did not.
You didn't like that?
He did not.
He wasn't joking.
He did not seem thrilled to be talking about Dotson. No.
Come on, I thought it was like a funny, right? No.
I was stunned. I was stunned. Whenever you just read the quotes, not a big deal. You actually have to listen to that press conference because man, he was not happy.
That's all of us that have played for the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Coach Tomlin. If you're fortunate enough to play for him long enough, you will have that body language in a conversation with him, and it doesn't make you feel good at all. Seeing that, I instantly flashed back. I'm like, oh, God, I remember him sitting here talking about me and his day going jet sweep, bro. Like, Lord, like, don't give me that body language. Don't give me, how he do the, what are we talking about here? I'm like, yeah, God, that's the one. But what I was joking about earlier, right, in terms of why I don't like breaking news. Did we not get reports about this in OTA's minicamp, right? Coaching staff is upset with Kevin Dotson. Coaching staff is not happy with him. Not saying that he's not going to be the starter, but they're not happy with what's going on with him currently right now. And what happened after that? Everybody went and destroyed my man Deke over at DK Sports, right? Destroyed, oh man, you're full of it. You're this. Attacked his character, attacked his integrity and all this other stuff. Fast forward 2 months later, and the head man essentially says exactly the same thing that the report said back then 2 months ago. But when you break news, if people don't like who you're breaking the news on, that's the action that you get out of it, man. It's nuts, baby. It's nuts. But you can see right now that, yes, they are upset. They want to see more from him, man. Yeah.
Why is that the case, though? Because whenever we talked about Dotson, we weren't ripping on DK's report or anything, but we were definitely questioning it because we saw a bunch of these videos of Dotson working out. That doesn't necessarily mean football working out.
And we talked about that
but then
as well. But
you saw him in minicamp, and you're like, Dotson looks fine to me, though.
but remember, that was the thing. We didn't see him during minicamp. Remember?
Or OTAs.
No, it was the beginning of OTAs we saw him. At the end, we weren't seeing him. And then that was the speculation of if he's healthy, if he's in shape, why isn't he out there? And then when training camp hit and we're thinking, okay, everything's going to get put to rest, you're sitting here 2 weeks in and he wasn't out there taking reps. That's why it got even more legs, even more steam to it, man. Yeah.
Now, I gotta be fair to Dotson here. I gotta bring up Dotson's response. You ready?
Go for it, man. Absolutely, man.
So,
was he responding to Coach T directly or
on Twitter? He's got a couple things on Twitter. So Dotson Tomlin's comment on what are we talking about? He's a second-year guy who hasn't worked. Here's what Dotson says. When he says I haven't worked, I legit have not been practicing. Out with an injury. Sounds weird when I read on Twitter. He's throw some laughing emojis in there. Haven't practiced but once since we've been back, dude. Feel like the journalist would research that. Now he's actually quote tweeting DK right
I'm looking
there.
Right here, yeah.
Yeah, but it's basically off Tomlin's quote. So that's what Dawson's saying. He feel like it's more based off the injury, but that Tomlin body language doesn't really
and I would say this
leave the right tone.
If you're Kevin Dotson, DK wasn't the guy who just spoke like that. Mike Tomlin, your boss, your coach just said that. So I don't care about you going up here and quote tweeting a reporter. Your boss just said that you haven't been out there. Your boss just said that. You read the body language. That didn't look like a guy that was saying it because, he's been injured. No, they're like a guy that's saying like, bro, he hasn't been out there. He's not getting first team reps. He has to show more. If you're Kevin Dotson, I don't think going to social media is what you want to do. I think you want to make sure that you show up here to practice today, that you're putting that work in. Now, I'll be out there today, so I'll make sure I give you a little report afterwards, let you know what it's looking like. Absolutely. But that's got to be the mindset, man. You don't need to go up here and try to have this contest of who can, be more clever on social media and measuring contests and things like that. No, man, get out here and get the work. Focus on that because the rest will take care of itself. But when the boss guy, not beat writers, not, us. No. This is Coach Tomlin talking about it directly about you. That's the part where it's like, man, the rest of that don't matter. Like you trying to sell us on his injury don't matter. The coach just said that, man.
Here's what I will say though. Yeah. The words that Tomlin used really benign because he has been injured like that. And to point out he's a second-year guy, you got to come in and prove it.
Yeah.
So those words are really, but like I'm telling you, the tone and the voice makes it seem more that he's unhappy because the words are just like, no, this is football. This is business. You're injured. Come back. Right. You got second team right now. Earn your first team reps back. I think everyone can agree on that for the most part. Because Dotson hasn't been in the league for 5 or 6 years making Pro Bowls and stuff.
But the perception for Dotson coming into this offseason was what? He's going to be the man. He's why you let Matt But no, he's why you let Matt Fowler leave. The moves had backed that up. But when he's not there and he's not available to what you think he should be, and the whole injury thing could be as simple as this. And now we don't know what the injury is. I'm just giving you an example of what it could be in terms of why a guy wouldn't be practicing, but yet why a coach could be frustrated with that. If a guy had a soft tissue, I always like to bring up soft tissue injuries because they don't require surgery. They're not going to keep you out of a season, but they last for 2 to 4 weeks typically, right? In that ballpark, which if you're missing that much time, whether it's in an OT or mini camp, that's essentially all of it. When you're talking about training camp, that's a good chunk of it, right? So say he just has a tweak of a groin, a tweak of a hip flex or hamstring, right? Not a pull, nothing that's going to require anything major, but it's enough that it's going to keep you out. Now, as it gets closer to when you're quote unquote supposed to be returning based on the communication with the training staff and the player, say we set a date of, hey, second game or going into that, as soon as that Hall of Fame game is done, you should be practicing that Friday or that Saturday, right? And we get to there and you're not what we expect it to be. Now, you're still injured. You can still be like, man, I'm hurt, bro. That's why I ain't out there.
Yeah.
But if I'm the coach and my expectation was that you should be healthy by now, you should be out there by now, well, now I'm going to feel some type of way. And then when we talk about a guy like Rashad Coward, who's been stepping in for him at left guard and playing well.
Yeah, you said he's been playing well.
He's been playing well. That also adds to this as well now. I mean, it was even to the point where Chuks Okorafor, right? Future starting left tackle for the Pittsburgh Steelers. They were asking him, hey, man, how do you feel about Rashad being next to you? Like, are you comfortable with him? How good is he, man? It looks like, he's playing well. And then you get this on the heels of the Dotson news. Yeah, if you're Dotson, man, read the room, man. Read the information that's going on around you. Get out there and show everybody you are the best left guard on this team. So that way, nothing funny happens.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And that's what I said with the initial reports. I just don't think it's going to matter. I'm hoping it's not going to matter because Dawson's just our best left guard.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be putting in the work, and I think he's going to ball out this season. So I'm hoping none of this stuff, at the end of the day, we're bringing back somehow in the regular season, and there's more and more drama. I'm hoping that's not the case. Yeah. Because I do think Dotson is the best left guard. There, like you said, there's a reason we let Matt Fowler go.
Talent-wise, he's more talented than Rashad Coward. He should be your best left guard. We all anticipate him being our best left guard. You thought I was panicking if Dotson was in the lineup at left guard. Imagine if Dotson's not in the lineup at left guard. Yeah, I don't even want to talk O-line then, baby. All right, I don't even want to talk about him. He's my 6'9" guy. I like, not in that sense, but like, I like, you know what I'm saying? Leave me alone, man. But I like the number. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's my guy right there, man. But yeah, just get out there, man. Get out there. If you're healthy, get out there, right? Hopefully, yesterday was that first step in the right direction. Now he can start stacking good days on top of good days. And then hopefully by next week, this time, it's a dead issue.
Yeah, I was going to say, because how you laid it out, in reality, it's not the end of the world to have that type of miscommunication over an injury because the organization probably wants you out there sooner than maybe you're willing to be out there. Yeah. That's going to happen with every team. So I'm just hoping with Dotson being out there, this passes. Dotson ends up getting those first team reps at some point, balls out, we'll be fine.
Right, because as soon as that happens, this
it was
goes
just, I'm telling you, the Tomlin tone was a little bit weird. Yeah. I wasn't expecting it like that.
And I saw in the chat, they were asking, well, hey, man, was it more so him just being frustrated that he had to address injuries? He's addressed injuries, and he doesn't have that type. He's more, I mean, we know how he is. This is Coach Tom we're talking about, bro. He doesn't like when players aren't out there practicing. That's his thing. He wants his guys, especially young players, he wants them getting reps. That's why he plays them a ton during the preseason. We've seen, I mean, the Rams are a prime example. They don't play any of their young guys like that, right? If you're a starter, you're not dressing for those guys in the preseason. Coach Tomlin, young guys, year 1 and 2, he wants them out there because those are your most vital years in terms of creating that foundation. When you miss out on weeks of practice, whether it's training camp and OTAs, that stunts your growth. That stunts the amount of things you're going to see. And why we project guys to be so much better. It's like you have to see football and play football to continue to get better at football. And when Dotson's not available, that's what Coach Tomlin understands. And I do think that's ultimately why he's so frustrated with him, because the expectations are high for Dotson. He's going to need to be one of the best or the best offensive lineman for us this year.
We got a couple upper room members.
All right. Where we at? You start.
You want me to read them off?
Yeah, you read them off.
Actually, I think only one. We have a super chat though.
Okay, because I got G. I think it's G Alexander, right?
G Alexander.
G Alexander, man. Shout out to you, baby, and welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man. Welcome to the family.
And then we got a super chat, Joey Jr.
I
don't. This is what, an emoji or something?
This is different. It's like
it's a fox painting.
It says something one.
Yeah, I can't even read what it says. Number one.
Number one.
Number one podcast, I guess, was what he's trying to say.
We appreciate you, Joey Jr., and I love the creativity on that. Man, YouTube emojis and graphics are totally different. Like, I'm catching up. We're learning. We're learning.
It's like a GIF, maybe.
Yeah, but it's pretty dope, though. Good quality on it, too, man.
Yeah. Are we missing anything with Dotson, you think?
I'm trying to see. Yeah, I think that was the biggest thing right there with him, man.
Like you said, just put in the work. You'll be back. What happened?
So I had finally caught back up to my 6'9" comment. And then I saw what Aaron Breeze said that Ben is Deke's 6'9" guy.
Oh, come on.
Because you know how I said with that, I'm like, yo, y'all got to stop this, bro. Y'all grow up. All right, grow up. Y'all got to leave us alone, man. Boo, but this is a good question right here actually not a good question, but a good statement before we transition to our next topic here.
Okay.
Stephanie Ramirez, she says that she thinks Coward could potentially be the starter at left guard week 1. Now, he has been playing really well. He's been looking good in practice. He's been available as well. The only way me personally could see that happening, though, is if Dotson's availability continues like this. You know, where it's
Dotson's the X factor for Coward. It doesn't matter how good Coward does.
Because I feel
we know what he is, but if Dotson lives up to his potential, Coward doesn't have a chance.
Right. I look at it like that. Like, I just think Coward has his floor set right now, right? It's a legitimate floor. We know where he's at, and he's kind of just stuck there. I don't think he's going to grow into a Pro Bowl or All-Pro, whereas with Dotson, we can see some of that framework on him where, he could potentially be in that Pro Bowl conversation, that All-Pro conversation. Like, he's talented enough to do that. He has the demeanor to do that as well. So that's the biggest reason why I don't necessarily feel like Coward will be the starter if Dotson does what he's supposed to do. Now, if Dotson keeps doing how he's been doing, then Coward will definitely be the starter, because Coward is showing every day that Coward goes out there and has a good practice, he's building up quality equity of trust between him and Ben, between him and Adrian Clem, and between him and Mike Tomlin. And all of those guys are big time decision makers in terms of who's out there and who's not out there. So for every day that Rashad comes out there and if his best is a 7 and he comes out and he's at a 7 every single day, they're going to start looking at that 7 like, yo, you know what? That's not that bad. We can work with that.
Yeah.
And you got Kendrick right here at center who played well in that opening game. We just dropped the film session on that. And then you look at, all right, Chooks, okay, we feeling good about this over here. They might grow that way. I can see that. But as a whole, it is largely predicated on what Dotson does going forward.
Now, it seems like we missed an upper room member.
Oh, do we do?
They're spamming the comments saying, let's spam it until he gets a shout out. Mike Boyce.
Oh, all right. Well, shout out to Mike Boyce. Oh, and he's badged up. Absolutely, man. So, Mike Boyce, shout out to you, baby. Welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. In fact, I'm going to seek comfort here.
People are trying to fire me.
I'm seeking comfort. Deke, that's on you, man.
They're trying to fire us, at least.
Come on, Deke, man. What were you doing, man? How you not going to have him in the comment, man? You're supposed to be on that thing for the upper room. Jeez.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah, my bad. Forgive us greatly. Don't kick us off the show.
I just hope Dotson makes his Pro Bowl. That's all.
Yeah, but it's gonna be. I want to see if Dotson's back out there today. He's definitely gonna be somebody that
you didn't see him yet, right?
Yeah, because yesterday when he started going in the second, like you're not unless you knew that ahead of time, that would have been hard to notice. Then,
okay,
you know what I mean? Just because because yesterday's practice also. They weren't in pads. It was a lighter practice. So the tempo of it was a little bit different. It wasn't a game week practice, but it felt like that, which made sense though, because when you think about this, how many days they practiced going into that Hall of Fame game, they took one day off and then they'll be practicing every day this week. Since Saturday, they've been practicing every day this week. They got a game on Thursday. They'll be off Friday, I think it is, and they're back on Saturday or Sunday. So not a lot of like off days. So with Coach Simon, what he has been doing later on in his career is putting those guys not in pads. But when you don't have them in pads, evaluating them is way different.
Gotcha.
Way different. Yeah, man.
Now, is that it on Dotson then? We got anything else or ready to move to the next topic? Do we have anything else Steeler? Oh, yeah, we do.
Yeah, we definitely do, man. Yeah, we definitely do, man. Well, we got one more Steeler topic we got to talk about, man. And this is what I've been enjoying, man. I'm going to talk about who's been impressing in camp and practices since the Hall of Fame game, right? Because we know as the preseason goes, some guys' arrow goes up, some guys' arrows go down, but it's always interesting to see once a guy has a good performance or has played well, what do they look like following that? So for some of the upper room members, I've been giving my updates in terms of the practices to let people know, hey, man, who I saw standing out and just kind of, what I thought from what I've been seeing. But I figured, for this portion of the show today, we'll give more of a bigger overview since this is the live portion. That's the perks of being on the live, right? So a couple of guys, though, man, that we should note in this. Antoine Brooks, right?
But not right. What you think, though. Right?
So check this out, right? Antoine, no. You ready for this? Antoine Brooks balled out game 1, right? Looked really good. And the speculation was he should be running with the ones. He should be the guy going forward. Problem is, Antoine Brooks hasn't been at practice. He's not available right now. He's
hurt?
Yeah. They haven't said specifically what it is, but every day at practice since then, he's been in tennis shoes and a bucket hat. He's out there with the jersey on, but he's not available at practice. So we've been seeing Arthur Mallette running with those guys exclusively. This is multiple days now. Once again, we talk about you could ball out in one game, but you got to come back and do it in practice and then do it again in the next game. In terms of a younger guy like Antoine Brooks, we're not talking about guys like Dotson, guys like Highsmith, TJ Watt, who've already proven stuff. With Brooks, he's a guy that's competing for a roster spot, competing for a potential starting job, right? You got to be available at practice. So he was the first one that I've been noticing. I was a little bit disappointed about that. I hope that changes today and definitely tomorrow as it gets closer because he needs to get back out there. He has a legitimate shot to be the starting nickel, but you cannot be the starting nickel if you're not practicing, baby. So he was the first one I wanted to bring up. The second one, Devin Bush. Devin Bush has been available. And he has been looking impressive. Now, I know the video came up with Najee Harris catching the bomb. And the reason why I say this is I'm cool with that because they don't show the reps where Devin Bush locked up Najee. They never show that.
I think he got safety help on that one too, maybe.
Nah. He didn't need any help. Yeah, that's my thing.
Like I'm saying in a game.
On the bomb? Nah.
I think.
Heck nah.
You don't think Minka's down there maybe helping him out?
Why Minka gonna help out D. Bush? You draft D. Bush for D. Bush to be D. Bush.
That would have been a cover 2 play, I think. We just would have had some help on that.
Bro, if that's Robert Spillane out there, all right, sure. Give him a little help. But it's Devin Bush.
Okay. That is the expectations for
right.
Bush. Yeah.
Because if that's not the case, well, how does that change our defense than what it would have been if that's Vince and John Bostic, Vince and Mark Barron, right? You were having to use that help then. Devin Bush is past that. Take the training wheels off. You got to be a big boy. You got to ride that bike. But outside of that one play, he has been super impressive, especially in coverage.
Great.
He's been competing big time with Pat. Now, Pat still is Pat. Pat, every day that Pat is out there at practice, he's going to catch a pass, and you're going to just be like, yo, he's different. He's different. And it doesn't matter who's guarding him. But I love Devin Bush's demeanor. I love the speed that he's playing with, and I love the patience that he's playing with. We talked about this with McFarland, right? Guys that are younger, that are fast, not understanding how to be a little bit more patient. Not necessarily slow, just patient. You're fast
Take your
enough.
spots.
Right. You don't have to beat this guy every single time. Like, use the angles. Understand what they're trying to do. It'll make you a better player. Devin mentally looks like he's stepping into that a lot more. Now, granted, still a small sample size, right? And I still want to see it in some of these preseason games. But based on what we have been seeing this week, I will say that Devin has been improving and looking a lot better with that. So I'm really excited about that right now.
Yeah,
man.
They say he's going to play.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Playing the Eagles game.
And too, with Devin, that was a guy that we got high expectations for. And when we found that he wasn't out there at the earlier portions, we were like, yo, this isn't good. Like, you're a guy that's going to need to be out here and hitting this thing full speed to go come week 1 because you got to be one of the best linebackers in the league, for our defense. Like, we need you to be like that. But now, like I said, he's flirting. It's looking good to see him out there.
Oh, that's great.
I want to see him again today. That's my thing. I want to see him again today, and I want to see when we put those pads back on consecutive days. Because right now, it was 1 on, 1 off. I want to see it consecutive days, back-to-back thumping. How's that thing going to look? Mentally, how you going to feel about that thing? Because those are all the things that you deal with in the season. That's why training camp is what it is. It's preparing you for the season. So, yeah, but Devin, I definitely like him a lot right now, man. And then it was one other guy. Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's Derrick. Derrick is still doing Derrick things.
Derrick Watt?
Yes, he's still Derrick Watt. I like Derrick Watt.
Wow.
I like Derrick Watt. That's the other. I was like, oh, I'm forgetting one of my guys. It's Derrick. Yes.
You might need a 4-4 jersey.
I'm not getting a 4-4 jersey. I'm just nicking that in the bud right now. That is not happening. All right. I only support one fullback. And that was Rosie next. All right. I got in OG fullbacks. We're talking Lorenzo Neal. That's because personally we connected. But other than that, like, yeah, I'm good at all these other fullbacks.
You want me to throw out some names just that I've heard and you could confirm or deny?
Go ahead.
Positive performances?
Yeah.
Ben?
Yeah.
Haskins?
Yeah. Haskins, definitely Haskins.
Spillane bounce back?
Yes, but it's different though. Because like pairing wise, he's put more in his normal like responsibilities in terms of staying in the box. You're the blitzer, not walking out doing more of the coverage stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the part that's been different with him. Ben always looks good in practice. The thing with Ben, he's just not going to take a ton of those reps. But you also got to remember,
I'm hearing some mobility, like some added mobility from Ben. I'm hearing some vintage.
Stop it, bro.
That's
Y'all
what
got to stop this, bro. Are those same people that said Dwayne Haskins is a slug and can't run? Is those same people?
No, I don't think.
I was just checking because they tend to vary in factions. Like either Ben is a great, he's running, he's faster than this guy right here, or this guy's a little bit faster than that guy right here. So I've been seeing it, man.
But we kind of talked about that with Haskins whenever we first signed him because we watched the highlights or I'm not watching the tape, but you said you were watching the tape. Whenever Haskins gets outside the pocket and straight line speed, and we saw it in the preseason game, he's pretty damn fast.
Yeah. Nobody likes to talk about that. But with Ben, though, man, for me, the reason why I don't feel like I need to come up here and bore y'all with, hey, man, Ben looks good at practice. Ben always looks good at practice. Like, Ben is
the only
Ben.
reason I brought that up because I saw something about, like, added mobility that Ben showed.
I'm not going with that added mobility route. Like, Ben is Ben. Ben is Ben. We're not about to hype up this book. Like, Ben is Ben. It's not going to be anything mobility-wise it's going to make you say, wow. But Ben can still get it done. I mean, when you watch him throw, he still can make every throw that you want to see in practice. He's doing that. Like I say, he just doesn't do it as often. Like with Haskins, for example, it'll be a portion in practice where Haskins, Mason, and Dobbs, they're slowly working on deep balls, 30, 40-yard plus bombs. And they're going to probably throw 7 to 10 per person. Ben might throw 2 of those things. And it's a beautiful throw, but it's like it's 7. I don't need to see a ton of that. I know you can do that. So with him, every day that he does practice, he looks like 7. I mean, you might have a pick 6 here or there because of James Pierre or Minkah Fitzpatrick, but then it's the catch-22 of, all right, are we going to knock Ben for that or are we going to praise the DBs for that? Because they are doing good. We talked about James Pierre. He's having a really good camp. So I'm not going to look at that as like a negative for 7, but 7 is 7. 7, you're not going to see 7 have a bad practice. 7's practice standards in terms of what makes a bad practice for him versus how we view him and what's a bad practice is night and day. He might be like, man, I didn't throw a tight spiral on every single pass, so it was a bad practice. For us, we're like, bro, you 7 passes downfield over 30 yards. Okay, you done hit this cross. All right, you done ran this play. Yeah, man, we seen enough 7. Get up out of here. Like, that's 7. 7 to 7. I ain't worried about him in practice. Like, he's always going to look like that.
Yeah. I hope the fake fans are paying attention. And they're ready for what's gonna happen this season.
Hey man, don't you put me in any of your promos that you be. I feel like that was a promo coming. Don't cut me in.
I'm not doing that.
I'm about to say you was about to double down on the. I told you 7. Y'all fake fans or y'all casuals. I'm like, bro, if another person says yeah, and we've already talked about that. That's the whole. If I don't agree with what you said, I'm just gonna call you a casual.
Oh, it's the best.
If I don't agree with what you said, I'm just gonna say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about.
That's all you gotta do.
Yeah, I'm like, Brad, yeah, whatever. All right.
I like the fake fans better than casual.
Like, jeez,
the fake fans moniker might be my thing this season.
I always laugh though because I'm like, that's just like the PG-13 way of name calling now. If a person, like typically back in the day, you're like, oh, you don't agree with my team, you're a dummy. You know what I mean? Whereas now, oh no, you can't insult people. Well, you're just a casual then. Same concept, same thing. Like, oh, okay, we're just gonna sugarcoat it a little bit more. All right, I have a response for that, but I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, so I'm gonna keep it to myself. But yeah, man.
James Pierre, still staying good.
Yeah, James still good. Yeah. Justin Lane, though, I will say this. Justin Lane, I've liked what I've seen from him a little bit as well.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Bounce back.
Yeah, it wouldn't, and just his demeanor, though, in terms of, remember when I talked about guys coming out a little bit earlier, putting in that extra work? I have been seeing Justin Lane work on that. I know specifically watching him yesterday warm up, working on his press and his hand placement with that, because that's something that James Pierre excels in. And we put his film session up as well yesterday. It was like late last night, man. But shout out to people that have tuned in to see that, man. But with James typically is, a high clip of he's going to get hands on receivers in those first 2 to 3 steps to ultimately disrupt the timing, reroute them, and keep him in good position. Justin Lane, on the contrary, typically does not do that. He doesn't get a lot of hands on receivers. He tries to just be an athlete, and it gets him in bad position sometimes. Seeing him working the stab, seeing him working his footwork to stay square with these guys, especially in those first couple of yards, I was liking that. And it was good to see him actually take that onto the practice field. But now what I said, remember yesterday, it wasn't a full padded practice. So the tempo was a little bit different. It'll be different out here today because they should be in full pads to see if he's going to still be able to take those things that he was working on yesterday. And now when the intensity is cranked up, now when the speed is a little bit faster, can you still do those same things? And that's what I'm interested with him right now, man.
Okay.
Yeah.
I maybe got 1 or 2 names.
Okay.
Mark Gilbert.
I did not watch him like that.
Okay.
I wasn't, but I did like what I saw from him in the game, though.
Yeah.
I liked him in the game, but I did not watch him like that yesterday, though.
Presley Harvin.
Well, the thing yesterday, man, it was Barry kicking.
Just him.
From what I saw, it was just Barry kicking. Now, maybe they might have did Harvin a later time, but from what I saw, it was more so just Barry. But I thought that Barry didn't do enough in that session. So that was kind of how I looked at it. I remember saying to myself, like, all right, I guess today is Barry's day then. Because Barry was booming a ton down this way, putting him down that way. I liked his placement. Placement was good outside the numbers, but distance-wise. Now, granted, it was in practice, so that could also be a thing. But I just believe that, if you're competing with a guy, I'm not laying out no 40-yarders in practice when my man just, he dropping them big things. Hey, Coach, I hear what you saying, Coach, about this hang time, bro. Well, my man, he trying to kick 70-yarders, baby. All right, I ain't going out like that. I'm gonna go down swinging. so maybe Barry was under that. He was just always practice placement. I personally didn't like that, though. I ain't like how that looked. My man, you drop, man. Every time that Presley kicked or punted the ball on the other day, man, they was all inside the 10, or hard enough that was gonna force a turnover.
Yep.
Barry coming out there and putting them balls yesterday, and it was very nice. It was good touch on them, nice placement. I don't care about touch and placement when this dude is like rifling these things out here.
Yeah, maybe he didn't watch the game. Was Barry even there?
I don't know,
was he even dressed?
I don't know, because that's, to me, I was just like, if that's the approach you want to go with, cool. But I personally wouldn't take that approach, man.
So we got a couple comments here.
Yeah.
Brilla92. Steelers will lead the NFL with 69 sacks. Shout out Deke.
I do like that number. Y'all wild.
Roger Peavy.
Shout out to Roger as well. Yes, indeed,
I guess you
man.
kind of answered this a little bit. How are our 2 corners looking? I don't know what 2 corners. Is he talking about Sutton and Pierre? You talk about Pierre.
Hey, we talked about Pierre. Pierre's look good. Sutton is Sutton. Sutton looks well as well. The thing that's unique about Cam, though, I don't want to say the expectations. It just feels different. Like the energy around Sutton in his camp versus Pierre in his camp. I feel like Sutton is having a really good camp also, but the hype isn't around him the same way it is for Pierre. I think more so because Pierre is exclusively playing on the outside. And it looks like, like I want to see who this guy is. And
but they haven't been doing any Sutton on the inside,
I know, so that's the thing. Like, I still don't necessarily know why one is getting more talk than the other, but Pierre has definitely gotten a lot more excitement surrounding him.
That's interesting because if we're not gonna, I guess then it's still between Millette and Brooks, but you want to have your best guys out there,
or and even Trey Norwood too, because he's also getting some nickel action.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Because if Pierre's as good as we're thinking, optimally, then you have Pierre out there with Hayden, and you have Cam Sutton in the slot because we know Cam Sutton can play slot. If we haven't seen it yet, though, how can we expect it to happen like that? Unless we're just hiding things behind the scenes, but I don't know if that's necessarily how it works or should work.
Yeah.
Because
I don't know, man.
I mean, can Cam Sutton just jump in week 1 without even doing much reps in the slot like that?
I mean, he should, right? I personally don't agree with that. You know, I'm a practice guy, but I know not everybody's a practice guy. A lot of people feel like, oh man, just throw him out there. He's good to go. So from my point of view, I personally think I would like to see him take more reps in there if you're going to utilize him there during the season. But I could easily understand where he's had enough reps there.
Don't want to tip your hand too much.
You feel like, he can go out there. So, yeah, but that's interesting, though, man, because like I said, James Pierre definitely has been talked about a lot more, though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the excitement definitely is surrounding James Pierre, man. What else we have on that?
Compass Entertainment. Ooh. What about the Steelers' new signing? See, I just saw this yesterday, too. Pete Guerrero?
Yeah.
Guerrero?
Yeah.
What does it mean for the RB room, even though he's not a big name?
I mean, because they did the same thing with Tony Brooks James, yeah. I still think more depth right now until we see something, whether it's a movement with a Benny Snell or somebody released or something like that. Like, this to me just looks more like depth, more like camp bodies, because running back position, like we said, you want to make sure you got multiple bodies during this time so you're not running your horses into the ground and they're not taking too many hits out there, because we do, like I said, in practice, they do tackle. It's live. They're getting after it. So, yeah.
Another upper room member?
Oh, yeah. And this is Piero Rios.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Piero Rios, man. Shout out to you, Piero Rios. And welcome to the upper room. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, man.
Do you want to hit on any more names, or you
that's what I'm trying to think, because those are the main ones I wanted to talk about. I will say this, though. In the chat, put a couple of names that y'all want me to look at, right? A couple of names y'all want me to see, and I'll make sure I focus on those guys today and tomorrow when we come out here on Wednesday's show, because y'all know we rocking with 3 shows a week. When we do Wednesday's show, I give you another update on those players. So, yeah, just put in the chat some of the guys y'all want me to check out today, and I'll make sure I put more of a focus on them as well, man.
Perfect. Yeah, that works for me.
I'm seeing Trey Norwood, Mark Gilbert.
I saw some Buddy Johnson.
All right, I'm going to make a note of this right now. That's the only reason I'm pulling it out.
Kendrick Green.
Okay.
You did the film sesh. Trey Turner. Yeah, we haven't really talked about Trey Turner.
Here we go. I'm going to just take this picture of it. Bam. All right.
Dan Moore. Cheddar Bob. Matt Sexton.
All right.
Yeah, a lot of Buddy Johnson.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of Buddy. So I'll definitely focus on those guys then, man. Cheddar Bob, 8 Mile. Don't shoot yourself, baby. Hey.
Rico Bussy.
All right.
Quincy Roche. Edmonds.
Dude, Buddy Johnson is...
I'm seeing Edmonds for Trey Edmonds and Terrell Edmonds.
Yeah. All right. Let me take another updated pick real quick of this new group. All right.
Basically everyone.
Yeah. So what's going to end up happening, guys? It's going to be one day we're going to talk about this group. Now we're going to talk about that group. All right. And then for upper room members, y'all going to get it first, because obviously y'all know we get the practice updates for y'all, man. So I got y'all later today for a fact, man. We'll do that, baby. We'll definitely do that. But yeah, that's it for that portion. All right, now for the last bit before we get up out of here, because I'm looking at the clock. It is 11:03, and I do have
some things
to get to. I gotta get.
We don't want to be holding you back.
Yeah, man. We gotta, we multitask. We wear multiple hats, but that's how we do it, man. So, last topic here. We got to talk about this UFC 265 pay-per-view fight, baby.
Yeah.
Derrick Lewis versus Ciryl Gane. I liked it, man. It was fun to watch, man. For me, I was kind of torn because I'm a big Derrick Lewis fan, just because I like how he moves the needle, right? When he talks, we know he's going to say something crazy. He has all the sound bites, all the clips. And typically when he does finish guys, it's in spectacular fashion. Now, is he limited? Sure. But we know that, man, he's a guy that has continued to progress.
He'll knock you out 5 seconds left.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I think of him, I do think he's improved since like earlier on, where he was just kind of just reckless. Now, at least we saw in the Curtis Blades fight, which was a previous fight where he was more calculated. He's going to wait to set up that one shot. Even though we know that shot was coming, he was like going to be a little more patient this time. But with Ciryl Gane, man, dude's skilled, crazy talented. In terms of a heavyweight fighter, moves more like a smaller weight fighter, middleweight, welterweight, just in terms of bounce on his toes, high volume output. Typically, you don't see that at the heavyweight rank. But man, my dude looked the part, bro. He looked the part and outclassed him, man. It was just from start to finish, man. I just thought that he was the clear-cut better fighter, man. It was good to see.
Well, it's funny because I came in here and I watched the highlights before we jumped on here because, one, it's not McGregor. I'll be honest with you. We've talked about this.
Mm-hmm.
There's only certain fights that I'm really tuning into unless someone has the fight. I'm just randomly going to their house and it's on. So there was that. Also, it was my birthday, so I just had I had no pocket awareness of really what was going on that night.
That was the thing. I wanted to hit you up to say, like, yo, because I remember you said you're a Derrick Lewis guy. You're like, yo, I'll watch him
because I did see a few fights of him, and it was like 2 or 3 of them where he's just getting smoked. But then it's in the last round,
gonna land a shot. Yeah,
and you're like, whoa, I did not expect this at all. But
then it was your birthday. I was like, yo, he's inebriated. He better be at least. So yeah, I'm not even gonna hit him up right now.
But no, I'm watching the highlights, and it did look like you mentioned outclass. Yeah. It did look like Gane. It's French, right? So Gane is his name, not Gane. He just had control of it. Now in the highlights, they showed Derrick Lewis and Gane's hit count probably being much about the same. I'm like, dude, this was pretty equal in the first 2 rounds, huh? And you're like, no, the totals were like 99 Gane to Lewis's like 8.
Yes,
so they probably only showed Lewis's 8 hits, and then they just showed a couple of Gane's hits. Yeah. But then he just dominated in that third.
He definitely did, man. The leg kicks. Like I said, he was a smart fighter. Vegas, and this is the thing I like about Vegas, they were smart in terms of how they set the odds too, because Lewis wasn't the favorite, but perception-wise, Lewis was the favorite because of it being in his hometown, pay-per-view. He's the headliner. He's the one that sold the fight.
And Gane doesn't have as much experience.
Correct. Right? Or at least in the UFC, he doesn't. Right. So we knew that all those things would kind of play into it. But Gane on paper was the better fighter. You watch Gane in previous fights, like, yo, Gane, he fights in a way that none of those heavyweights. Now, Francis Ngannou, he showed a little bit more calculated approach, but his output still wasn't like what Gane's was. I mean, we hope that a guy like John Jones will come up and fight like that. Stipe Miocic, who was the heavyweight champ for a while, he just got knocked out by Francis. He fought kind of similar to that, but still, that output, man, that is crazy for a guy that big, man. And it was for the interim belt, so he technically is a champ right now, man. The interim champ.
What's the deal with Adesanya? Is he in the same heavy?
No. So he's too light for them. Yeah, he's lighter than those guys. He's 2 classes down for them. This is the heavyweight. So this is
top
like
notch.
I said, where Francis is, the current champ at. Obviously, Stipe Miocic was the champ there. Daniel Cormier, he fought up there, champ there as well. John Jones, we're anticipating him having a fight soon, hopefully, right? Hopefully. But even now, that changes things because, if you're Gane or Ngannou, y'all fight next. You got the champ versus the intern champ. Y'all got to get it in.
I need that. When's that happen, you think?
Oh, man. Let's see. It's what, August now? If we're lucky, December? I don't know, though. I would hope, but I don't think it's going to happen. Not that soon. All right, I would love for it to be like later this year, though.
So in the comments, people are wishing me happy birthday. Thank you for that.
Yeah, man.
Moats for comeback. What was CPO? Is comeback player of the year? I don't know. What's he saying?
I don't want to come back anywhere. No. I'm just glad that my PTSD is, when I go to Hinesville for training camp, it's a lot lighter now because I'm not at Latrobe. If I was going to Latrobe, every day I go up, I would start sweating. At least now I'm kind of like my heart flutters, but I don't sweat as much, so I'm growing. But yeah, don't come back me anyway. I don't want to come back. Please don't. But bat300_, you're right. Ciryl Gane and Francis Ngannou did used to spar together. And it's funny, like when you watch them spar, it's close, man. Like
similar
now, granted,
styles?
Yeah, well, because they're both of the. I guess I can call this the new wave of heavyweights right now, where they're a little bit more athletic and showing more versatility, right? But yeah, you see Ciryl Gane in these clips, and it's multiple clips that they have where they're going back and forth sparring, and Ciryl looks good. But I also wonder, because Francis was the bigger name during those times, if Ciryl is taking it a little bit easier because you don't, I'm not going to go crazy hard. That's his camp. Now, I don't know whose camp it was, who was supposed to be preparing for a fight. But if you're preparing for a fight and I'm here to help you, if we're sparring, I'm not going to try and kick your butt, right? Now, if this is my fight and you're coming to help me, well, yeah, I'm going to get the better of you. I'm going to make sure that I'm winning that. So that was the other part where I'm like, I don't know the full context of those clips. But that is definitely something that's going to be interesting, man.
G. Alexander just said Derrick Lewis straight set himself up. He was trying to conserve energy and was not throwing any punches. Derrick Lewis is the best of the bottom tier talent.
Ooh. Well,
Ciryl will not beat the top tier talent.
Now, this is where I think we differ. I do agree, though, in terms of Derrick Lewis being the best of the... When he says bottom end talent, I think the biggest thing is kind of like what we said about...
Cowboy.
Yeah, essentially, like, wins a ton of fights, but when it's time for that big fight to win the belt, something always happens. And that's kind of what is looking like with Derrick Lewis and why he's been where he's at and why Ngannou is where he's at. Ngannou has shown up in these bigger fights and has been able to ultimately get himself the belt, whereas with Derrick, sells a fight, will win a ton of regular fights, but when it's time to really go, that type of stuff happens. Now, I could definitely see that, what you were talking about, though, in terms of him conserving himself and setting himself up like that. But that goes back to, you need to be in better shape. If you can't throw more than a couple punches around, that's an issue. But, and I said this in my video yesterday while I was talking about the fight, I am actually glad that Gane looked as good as he did, because it puts the pressure back on these bigger heavyweights to actually develop more skill. Don't just be a one-punch knockout artist, because once you don't land that one punch, what else are you going to do? That's what John Jones has been constantly talking about with the guys that he's fought at light heavyweight and why he's so confident going to heavyweight. He's like, he feels like his output is there. He feels like those guys are only one-punch knockout artists, and he typically does a good job of controlling the distance, like we saw with Gane. Gane was eating Derrick Lewis's lead leg up, and now he can't move the way he wants to, and he can't lead into that power right hand that he wants to throw. Those are the things that smart fighters do to control that, especially versus power fighters like that. So I do think Gane will be interesting going forward. I don't think that this is a one-time thing and Gane's never going to, compete to really win the belt. I think that he definitely stands a chance against against Ngannou. I think he stands a chance against Stipe. I like him in all. I think he's legitimate in all of those fights, man. So yeah.
Cool.
It's gonna be fun though, bro. It's gonna be fun, man.
Is that all we got for the day?
It is, bro. It is, man. So dude, I don't like when our show's in, man. It's always so much fun, and then it comes to an end and I get sad.
You got stuff to do though.
I do though, bro. I gotta work today, man. I work every day actually, bro. I need to stop. No, I don't. I'm just on vacation. Now I'm good to like another year from
I know. I think we're good.
I'm a workaholic. I hate it. It's not good. It's not a good habit, bro. Don't be like me when you grow up, man. You need to just retire early and just live your life visiting Mars every single day. Okay, that's the life I want for you. I want you to wake up in the morning, go to Mars. I want you to record. Then when you're done recording, I want you to go to Mars again. Then when you go to record again, I want you to go to Mars. Okay. I just want you to be on Mars all day. That's what I need from you. All right, because you've earned that, bro. You've earned that.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
it's your birthday month. It's your birthday.
Thanks.
For the whole month, man. All right. We celebrate you this whole month.
We keep celebrating.
That's what we're gonna do. Happy birthday, Deke. Hey, for the whole month of August, ladies and gentlemen. Whole month of August, we wish Deke a happy birthday on the show. So happy birthday, Deke.
Okay.
We appreciate you.
I appreciate it.
That's how we doing it, man. So with that being said, though, baby, it was a dope show today, man. If anyone's gonna be at Huntsville, like I said, I'm up there, man. We got the show that we're recording up there. Pull up. You know how we live. But yeah, it was a blast. So we'll see you Wednesday. And until next time, baby.
Peace.